and my palms are sweating even though it's freezing here in the Frostlands. Hi, welcome everybody. It's me, I'm Tara, and I will be your host. We're playing a game called Frostpunk. You may or may not have heard of it as a video game. The second edition just recently came out, but it is becoming a tabletop role-playing game. And we're going to play that right now. But before we get started, I am supposed to tell you that there is a giveaway happening later on in the stream, which is it's in the chat. It's in the chat somewhere. It's somewhere. We're giving away a thing, and if you type hashtag RemPC in the chat, maybe the tech guy will have mercy on me and share the chat thing. It's good. It's a choice. It's your choice of a PDF. Not only are we giving you a gift, it is your choice of a gift of a PDF from the Blood and Justice universe, which, if you missed the interview before this, the creator was chatting about. It's in the Crow universe, or inspired by. Very cool. You should type that in the chat down there. We'll do a drawing at the end. You don't technically have to be here, but you should stay. You're here with us. And we're here in the Frostlands. If you are not familiar with the world of Frostpunk, the year is 1896. And 10 years ago, we experienced a cataclysm known as the Great Frost. The winter came, and it just never left. And it deepened, and it deepened, and we were forced from our homes and our cities to try and find a way to survive. And here we are. It's been a while. We've established ourselves in, well, you can see in the map, which I had intended to hide. We'll hide it again in just a minute. But anyway, you can see we're in this crater. This is a city that we have founded. But don't look at that right now. Don't look at that right now. There, great. That makes me feel better. In this city, you found a way to survive by relying on your natural resources and, most importantly, on each other, on your hard work, on your camaraderie, on your resourcefulness in the harshest of climes. The temperatures only got colder. You had to dig for coal in the ground. You turned wood into coal, and the one thing ever present at the center of your city is a generator. It stands stories high, and it produces coal heat that gives you just barely enough warmth to still feel alive. And to make it to your next day, to make it to your next shift, to continue to stay alive, to continue to support each other. It's a balance. It's an ever dangerous balance of hope and discontent. And you're always on a hunt for something more people, more support, more resources, more heat. There are often groups of scouts that are sent away from the city, sometimes for days, but never too long, because you can only survive for so long away from the heat of the generator with the supplies that you can carry on your pack. And a couple of weeks ago, a group of scouts went away looking for more resources, and they never came back. That was about a week ago. And the talk started to thrum through the town. Something needed to be done. There needed to be a small group of people. Resources are limited. You can't put together a full team of scouts for a full expedition. So there were 3 members of the community who were hand chosen to go out into the cold, to bring this group, or what was left of them, back. And it's there that we start our story. You might imagine a camera zooming in over a vast wasteland of snow and ice. The wind is howling. There are rock outcroppings here and there, but by and large, it is a vast expanse of nothing. The sun reflects off of snow, so you can't tell where the sky ends and the snow begins. And all you have to cling to are these anonymous shapes that are huddled around you and traipsing through the snow. In this group that we zoom in on, there are 4 such figures on their feet, making slow pace through the snow. One figure is tied down with as much blankets and cover and packed in with supplies as they can. There is another humanoid figure bundled on a sled that this group of people drags through the snow. You trudge and you trudge, and all of a sudden, on the howling wind, you hear the sound of children screaming and the sound of a bear roaring. What will you do? The city is just ahead. You still have most of a day left, but you can see it. You can see that column of smoke. It's almost there. Your companions are wounded. You're carrying the supplies that you can't fit on the sled. And the screams begin to multiply. Uh-oh, Richard is saying something, but I can't hear him.
Arnold is going on a piece. He's going to look in the directions of the screams, and in his head, he's just going to think to himself, probably not much we can do for them. But he's going to look to his companions who he has spent some time with and trust implicitly and follow along with them.
That was a cowardly thing to say.
It's not cowardly, it's just reality. It's the way of life out in the snow. It's the bear.
What weapons do we have? Anything?
If you have a combat skill, you have a weapon that is associated with it. You wouldn't go out into the snow without it. At this point, you start to hear the shouts. It's not just children screaming. There are a few adults shouting to each other in panic.
Martha will, I'm assuming she's not physically strong enough to be pulling the sled by herself, so she's going to quickly break away and move toward where the screaming is coming from, because she has concern for the people. She will hesitate before she does start running in that direction, but without question, she will head in that direction to see what she can see and what she can do. She wants to be helpful, but she also knows that in these extremes, in these dire circumstances, there are times where she has to just look away because she can't do, and she has to just let things happen. So Martha will take the initiative to try to head toward the sounds of the bear.
You have to branch a little ways off course. You're heading, we'll call it south. And in order to get to the cave, you're going to branch off to the east a bit. You make it, we'll go ahead and say you make it a couple of, you have a sprint distance of, I think, around like 20 meters. Well, even if you're not, are you sprinting or are you just running?
she would try to move as quickly as possible, but she, again, is not the athlete. She's got endurance of a D8. And considering the highest dice is a D12, I'm going to consider that she can probably go for a little while before exhausted, especially considering the cold.
Yeah. I'll say you can go 2 sprints before you're risking a box of fatigue on this run, because you've been preserving your energy relatively well in this group. You make it about 40 meters in the direction of the screams, and you can see that there is a cave off to the distance. And you can see now that there are a few small figures that have run out into the snow on their own. They're running away from you at the moment, and the sound of a bear is echoing through the cave. You can hear that there is still bear violence, as it were, occurring in that cave, and that there are still people suffering from it. But there are some people that are running away.
Okay. She doesn't know much about bears and how to deal with them. But she knows that animals are generally afraid of noises and stuff like that. She has a high ingenuity, so she's just gonna to kind of like brave herself, because what she's had to become at these times is braver than she used to be. Used to be a tailor. She used to only worry about sewing patches and stitches and small things, and now the world's become so different. She has to encompass this something more than she's ever had the need. So the watching children pass away in the hospital, she tries to, always want to throw herself into being better. So she charges in the direction where the children she can see is running from, and she just starts yelling loudly in some way to get people's attention that there is maybe head this direction, or, where's the bear and stuff like that. No, don't run that way. Run this way back to the city.
Yeah. I think because you're trying to do this at a great distance, I want to have you do our first feat roll of the day. So for everybody watching, the Frostpunk TTRPG uses the dice core system, which assigns a dice of a certain size, D4 through D10, to specific statistics. They're your pretty straightforward RPG statistics. You've got your endurance for strength, agility for dexterity, conviction for constitution, ingenuity for intelligence. I'm gonna blank on the last 2. There's resolve, which is luck, and then there's influence, which is your charisma. I did it. So you get a different dice for each of those, and whenever you're rolling, which is like a tested roll, it's called a feat, and you always start with a D8, and then you add your attribute dice. So Martha, what is let's say your influence die for this?
It is a D6.
Great.
I'm not a good talker when it comes to my bedside manners is not good.
That is okay, but you weren't trained to be a doctor, right? Why did I just have a picture of Edna Mode in my head that is now all of a sudden your nurse at the bedside? Anyway, let me see what sort of skill you might use for this.
I have persuasion, or
that
maybe close combat. That's about all.
I would say if you're using it more to persuade the other people to listen and run towards you, that would definitely be persuasion. We could call it Also, intimidation might work if you're trying to scare the bear away. If you've
She does not have intimidation, so the best choice is to try to convince people to come toward her. So that'll be a D8 and then 2D6s. So
Great.
Whoa!
Whoa! All right.
Whoa!
That
2 of my dice.
Yeah, you yell to the people who are running away, and you notice that one of them that just exited, that seems a little taller than the others, seems to pause on their way out. And they're still a little too far for you to be able to tell which way they're facing, but you can tell that you've had an influence on them from far away. And if you keep it up, that will work well for you. I know a guy.
Then she will continue to keep it up and wave and make as much grand gestures as she can to get people's attention.
What are the 2 of you doing back at the sled?
Clara would be digging through, would think, make a choice, realize, kind of calculate how far away we are, and then find a way to like a torch or something, or scavenge through the supplies we have, or engineer something so that I can light something on fire that will work as both a beacon and might scare away this bear.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm honestly not even going to make you roll for that, because you would absolutely have fire building supplies when you were out on the Frostlands. So you know right where you're storing them. You are able to light a torch and head in that direction. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Are you sprinting or are you just running?
I am running at a manageable pace so that I don't slip and that I don't let the torch go out.
Okay, great. So you're still a little further behind Martha, but you are on your way. Arnold, what's going through your mind right now?
He's going to just die in resignation. And I imagine he's the person that's been pulling the sled. He's been a quarrier for many, many years, working near mines, coal mines, stone quarries and everything. They'll just pull the ropes on him and start charging after Martha in that direction. Because if there are people hurt, there's no doubt Martha will want to bring them back. And they'll need the sled to do that.
With the sled in tow. Are you just trying to go at like a normal pace? You're not trying to push it to catch up?
It wouldn't be a sprint, but won't quite be a run either, because there's no quicker way to die than to use up all your energy in the snow. So,
true.
Steady pace, a good pace.
True facts. You hear a slight groan and a cough from the person who was trudging alongside you. This is Isaac Stoverton, one of the only survivors of that scout group that you were out to find. He's in bad shape, but he is going to help you. He's going to give you the sled a push from behind, because his companion Frank on the sled is in a bad way. Martha and Clara, how close to the cave are you trying to get? Are you just going to try to get the people to come to you, or are you going to try to make it to the cave to scare the bear with your torch? What's your plan? Either of you? Maybe you catch up to Martha, who's waving her arms in the snow.
Yeah. I'm going to catch up and also wave the thing so more people can see it. And then regret not grabbing more material to make a larger flame if I see the bear and realize how big it is.
You are not hearing so many screams coming from inside the cave anymore, for better or worse. But there are a cluster of people who have made it out of the caves, who are now seeing you waving, making their way in your direction. It's slow going, but you will eventually meet. And when you do, you see that it's a clutch of, we'll say, 18 to 20 younger people, most of them children, a few young adults. One that was the one that stopped, that you caught the attention of. One in particular seems to be sort of herding them all in that direction. You meet in the snow. We see a moment of exchange, like they search your eyes and they say, thank you. Where are you going?
Gotta head towards the smoke.
Yeah. You point at the smoke and they look in the distance and they look at you expectantly, but they don't know how to ask.
It's called New London.
And is there room for us there?
We will find a way to make room for you.
The relief that it washes over the bit of their face that you can see in the bundle of clothes is palpable, and they turn to look, and the children kind of cluster around them, and you all buckle down to make your way through the snow. Meanwhile, in the warmth of New London, I have stalling to do for myself for just a moment here.
Don't forget to put in the #RunPC for a chance to win a PDF of your choosing from
the you were thank you so much. It's from the wow, the chat's
Blood and Justice universe.
Shout out to you. You get an extra resolve point. That's the luck mechanic in this game. It's essentially a resolve die if you plan to spend it. So each of you, I believe, has 3, but now Clara has 4. That allows you can spend one of your resolve die to replace one of the die in your roll with a D12 automatically. Great. Okay. And now as we zoom in to the city of New London, as it were, in the inner ring, the closest to the generator and its heat is also one of the most important buildings to this city's survival. Its heart, if you will. Well, the generator maybe would be considered its heart, but its true heart. You know what I mean. It's the cookhouse. It's where everybody goes to get their meals every day. Everybody before their shift, in the middle of their shift, after their shift, are eating rations in the cookhouse. And food, you might ask, where are we getting food in the Frostlands? Well, it's actually, there are many animals. As you can tell, is enough fauna for a polar bear to survive, right? Although maybe the fauna is more often than we like to admit, not fauna. Humans? Anyway, moving on. There's meat out there to be had, and there are hunters that go out to get it every night. They work the night shift. They show up at the dinner shift to fill up their bellies, and they go out into the Frostlands to hunt for more raw food, which is then brought back to the cookhouse and turned into rations. There's also a hothouse that is out behind the cookhouse. So this is like a really epic steam-powered greenhouse where they grow actual vegetables. And the people who work there, I always thought were the luckiest in New London. That's where I would want to work if I lived in New London. I just caught the chat. The great winter is upon us. We are getting a warning that it's going to be 10 degrees colder tomorrow. And in fact, that's the murmur that Pearl hears as this cluster of hunters walk through the door. And Pearl is here to serve them dinner. Pearl, will you introduce yourself? What do you look like? Who are you?
Hello, I'm Nana Pearl, and I'm an elderly lady with a nice little headscarf, and she always has her trusty ladle in hand. She is quite old. She will not tell anyone how old she is, because if the gods hear her, they might come take her away. So, she doesn't talk about her birthday or how old she is. And she is very happy to keep this soup going for as long as possible. It's been the same soup for many, many years.
It has, and that is your trusty fallback. When food situations get sparse, the rations turn to soup because you're able to make more out of less. Thankfully, today is not one of those days. It's been a really good couple of months, and things are feeling pretty decent. You're able to serve full rations for today's meal, which is, to be honest, probably some semblance of like stewed greens, hardtack, like maybe some meat. It's not luscious. We're not having steak dinners in New London. It's very austere, as it were, but Pearl makes it with love, I think, or a little magic. That's the question that everybody.
A little love, a little malice.
A little malice. A group of hunters, and one that you speak to frequently, whose name just flew directly out of my head. Thank you. Elizabeth Archer is one of the leads of one of the hunting teams. She is not the kind that flies in the plane. Yes, there are planes. They fly and they hunt even further, but there are also still hunters on foot. And she's one of the good old-fashioned hunters on foot. And she walks up and she says, the food looks, as normal, Pearl. Thanks for that. How's your day?
Little Lizzie, watch your lip. Otherwise, I might not give you a special little treat. And then I hand her a little package. It's of some extra jerky.
Wow, you honestly really shouldn't have. What's the occasion?
Just remember to stay sweet. We've been doing so good recently. The food's been the best that it has been in a while. So I just thought I'd make my favorite little hunter something special.
I'm gonna bring you back something special today. I don't know what it is yet, but I can feel it. It's out there for you. Something a little magic, I think.
I can't wait. I'll make sure to make something very delicious.
Are you gonna eat?
Yes, I am.
Great. And you sit down at one of the tables to have a meal. The room is cozy and warm. It's the end of most people's day, but it's the beginning of the hunter's day. And it is also at this time that the rest of the crew shows up. You arrive, the three of you who were out in the frost, with your cluster of children and other such people. And the first and only place really open at this time of day, we'll say it's like 7 p.m. or so. So almost to your resting period. You are gonna get some food, yeah? You roll up to the cookhouse, and Pearl, you look up and you see a crowd of people at the door. Who's the first one in?
Wouldn't be me. I'm the one dragging the sled.
That's true. That's true.
Clara going first.
It's warm in here, and the wind you can still hear it like moving against the walls. And for those of you who've been sitting here and having dinner the whole time, it's kind of chilly. You feel kind of normal in here, but for somebody who's been out on the ice, this feels downright comforting. And you see Pearl having dinner with a group of hunters.
I will begin, removing the icy layer that is on top.
Yeah. What do you look like?
Clara has a dirty face, always dirty, very sharp pointed features, and is a little smaller than one would expect underneath her baggy clothes. But she has a short bob with like sandy blonde hair, and there's always dirt in her face.
Classic.
Or coal. Something. Some greasy smear is always on her face. But she will pull off her several layers to reveal her face, and she goes, "Hey, Pearl, you look like a grandma. You like kids, right?"
Oh, Clara. Oh, Clara, how many? I keep counting. There's so many. It's
okay. If the hunters, there's a polar bear they might be able to hunt in a cave not too far away. It'll probably hole up there for the night and sleep. Because it probably had, I think it ate recently.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's a little ripple of uncertainty through the kids. And they're like, what? Where's Dad?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's certainly... I have a solution. And I get up. And I go. And I take the stew. And stew becomes soup.
It does. And the kids are smelling this food. They start to get like that extra like desperate sort of look in their face, and they look really thin to begin with. It looks like they've been, traveling in the snow for quite some time. Some of them might have a little bit of frostbite happening on their fingers as they pull them out of mittens to wrap them around warm bowls of soup. Martha, are you coming in? You want to let us know what you look like and what are you doing in here?
So Martha is a woman in her early 30s, short blonde hair, glasses, and she works to keep herself as clean as possible because she has to be sanitary when working with patients and helping the doctors. So she isn't covered in dirt like Clara, but she's definitely more gentile in appearance and efforts for her appearance. So when unbundling from all the travel and whatnot, she will address herself to Frank, who is on the sled. And it is important at this point to get Frank to the infirmary. There will be somebody there watching the beds this late at night. I'm sure everyone else will easily get food and whatnot. So my attention is to draw to Arnold and convince him to help me get Frank to the infirmary. And I'm sure that, what's the other person's name? Isaac. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Isaac will stay and get food because he's just really cold. He doesn't have physical damage to his body from the cold.
Yeah, he may need to go eventually, but I think that you're right. He'll go and have some food first. He wants to make sure to get some of that dinner. He's also having some frostbite issues, but can move. And so, yes, you can absolutely go to the infirmary right away.
So, again, I'm not sure I can pull the sled, so I'll look to Arnold. Arnold, please help me get Frank in the sled to the infirmary so we can get tending to him. There's a possibility he might be able to recover well enough to aid the New London. So the faster we act, the faster he can recover.
Arnold will nod to her. And Arnold looks like he's definitely a man in his late 40s, early 50s. It's like, has this like brown hair that is just streaked with gray. His face is lined with like creases, partly from old age and partly just from years and years of labor that probably began even before the Great Frost. Just spending years in the mine. He kind of walks kind of like a little bit hunched over, partly from age and partly just from just the world beating him down after this last decade or so. So he'll just give a nod to our nurse and he'll look up to Pearl and says, "Save me a bowl, Pearl."
Absolutely, Arnold. And Martha, take this for Frank for when he feels up to eating again.
I will, and put it somewhere on the sled with him, or I'll carry it. I don't know.
It's in a thermos. It's
There we
in
go.
a little thermos, and you can tuck it in right next to him. It's a little warm, and he actually makes the first noise that you've heard him make since you picked him up out of the snow, which is a little grunt of comfort and gratitude. And you make your way. The infirmary is just on the other side of the generator. So the whole city, as you can see in the map, is built on a radial grid centered on the generator. And the infirmary is quite literally on the other side of and actually, why don't I get some token action going on here? So we've got Clara in the cookhouse with Pearl. That's a song. Not in the kitchen with Clara. Okay, I had to get it out. I had to do it. And then Martha and Arnold are heading to the infirmary on the other side of the generator. And the person on duty at the infirmary is the head. Where's your name? The head nurse. His name is Otto Curtis. And he's there with the people who, there are often people who fall ill. Even though you've carved a living out here, it's still very dangerous to work in the mines. It's still very cold on the fringes of town. And it's not uncommon for people to take up a bed for a while, as they say in the infirmary. Otto gets up from a chair where he was sitting and reading a book, and stands up when you enter. "Oh, Martha, you're back. Are they?"
I don't even let him finish as I'm fighting to get him into the room and whatnot. I'm imagining the sled doesn't easily fit in here. So when we got there, it was immediately like bang on the door to get his attention and then begin removing Frank from the sled. And Martha's throwing herself into her job. So she will make great efforts to either struggle with moving Frank or like getting him in the door as quickly as possible.
Yep. Anna would definitely kind of like swoop in a little bit, kind of scoop Frank up in his arms if he needs to, and carry him into the infirmary if needed.
Otto, we're back. And this is Frank.
Oh my God, what happened to him?
I don't know. We found him in the snow like this, and he hasn't made noise until just recently. Pearl's amazing stew started to revive him just by being in his presence.
That tracks. Over here. We have a bed over here. And he motions you towards one that is against a far wall. And he starts to produce a few extra blankets. And there are also these like personal coal heaters that he shoves underneath the mattress to give that a little bit of warmth. And are you all right? Where's the others?
The others? Isaac is with Pearl and the other children that we found and saved from a bear.
Children?
Yes, they're at the... she's so entwined in what she's doing, she just looks to Arnold to finish his, what I was trying to put out there.
Soon children in the cave. No idea what happened to their parents, but they're currently at pours water down her stew again. Still as good as it always is, but she's beating them right now.
As Otto turns to look over your shoulder after hearing this, and the door to the infirmary is standing open, which is kind of a taboo in this day and age with the cold. But you see standing in the doorway of the infirmary one of those refugee children hugging their arm to their chest, with the taller, younger, what you can see is now a woman, standing behind them and wanting to come in, and they seem to need treatment. Can you help us here?
Yes, child, please come in. Get out of the door.
They come in and shut the door, and the wind disappears behind the walls, but it is ever present. The child comes forward and has and is like very ginger with her arm. It seems as though it might be broken. Martha, are you going to rush forward, or Otto will make a move if you don't?
Oh yeah, I totally. That's definitely one of the key features about caring for people. Yeah.
Yeah. As you unwrap her arm from her jacket to see the problem, you can see the arm clearly is broken, but it has been broken for a very long time. The flesh has turned just like a terrible color. It is beyond the point of being able to be easily reset. You will need to re-break it in order to reset it. It's going to be a really difficult thing. I'm not even going to make you roll for that. It's pretty gruesome when you unwrap it.
So I steel myself against the sight of what I've seen. So like when she's actively moving, when she's unwrapping, she's talking to the child, and when she gets eyes upon what is beneath the bandages, silence, a telling silence that pauses the room, to where then she responds to Otto and says, Otto, can you go get the large arm vise? Come over to the bed, child. I look to Arnold and I say, this child needs a lot of help. We can handle this here if you wish to return and have food with everyone else.
Arnold had been looking uncomfortable during all of this, just trying to avoid looking at the broken arm of the child, and just gives Martha a nod and makes sure Paul saves a bowl of soup for you as well.
Thank you, my dear. It was very sweet of you. And I will be taking the child to beyond like a curtained area to where we're going to give the child some medicines and whatnot to adjust her humors or whatever they utilize for the medicine here before we do the most uncomfortable thing that I've...
Well, here's what we're gonna, as you do this, as you begin to prepare, the young woman who came in with the child understands. You say arm vice, and she also has a hardened sort of quality about her. So she will come to be your assistant. And she introduces, she says, I'm Quinn. And I have to thank you for flagging us down in the snow. We wouldn't have made it without you.
Yeah, for me, you cut in and out. Did you say Quinn?
I did. I said Quinn. Sorry. Yikes. Am I back?
You're fine. No, it was just for like a nanosecond, so it sounded like it went... Yeah, I was just like, what kind of name is...
It's a new age.
Right, exactly. New age name. Martha's going to change her name. Considering the day, time, and age of the medicine, so leeches are definitely something that would be utilized, but considering that they are a warm, temperate creature, I don't think we'd use that, so we'd probably just use other bleeding techniques. I don't really want to talk too much about the humors and the science behind humors that we got rid of about 200 years ago.
Yeah.
So just hand wavium over that.
Oh yeah, no, this is all I wanted to do was introduce Quinn, and
Okay.
we're gonna draw the curtain on the scene in the medical bay and zoom out into the square of New London, and we hear the groan of the generator, and we look out over the city, and I look at you out there in the chat. And you are also a part of this city. And I would like to invite you to join us, to invent a character for yourself. Drop yourself into our world. Introduce yourself in the chat. Give yourself a name, a profession. What do you care the most about? And hey, Mr. Tech Guy, will you cue that first survey? You get to tell us how you're feeling about how things are going in your city. There's a new influx of residents. It's clear that there's a lot of them sick. Will they be able to contribute? Will they be a draw on your resources? How does this make you feel? Let us know by clicking on the poll in the chat. You've got about 5-ish minutes or however long you put up there for you to do. We'll see, but we're gonna take a 5-ish minute break and then we'll resolve that after this. Don't forget to put Red PC in the chat. Bye. Yeah, we're back. It is now. Oh, before we jump back into the story, I'm going to remind you really quickly that we are doing a giveaway, and if you type #RemPC in the chat, you'll be entered for a chance to win your choice of a PDF from the Blood and Justice universe. That's all. Thanks. And then I'm also here to say thank you for those of you who participated in the chat. And it is so good to meet Ambrose and Margot. And I'm looking to see if there are any other people who have introduced themselves in the chat. We'll see who else we find in our city out there. Thank you for everybody responding to the poll. And it's time to resolve that. So you might be asking yourself, okay, I'm hopeless and unhappy, but what does that mean? Well, I'm going to draw your attention to the top right. I'm looking to see if I've got my right, am I pointing in the right? Nope. Oop, this way. Yeah. So if you look over here, we've got little discontent and hope bars. These are metrics of how the city is feeling in general, and these will have positive and negative effects on our players as they try to do things throughout this game. But be honest. Vote your truth. You know what I mean? The other people of the city have done, and I know that you did as well. And so based off of these results, I kind of wish that I had I'm going to resist the urge to make ridiculous music while I do this with my mouth, and I'm just going to speak. So we're going to deal with discontent first, and our net discontent is 3 points down. So that is good. Sorry, happiness. I wrote this down. Happiness is, I gave that to you and I'm going to yank it right away because my own notes are cryptic and hard to decipher. But I figured it out because I wrote happy instead of discontent. And when there's a down arrow next to happy, that means you're unhappy. And if you're unhappy, that means discontent is going up. So alas, it's going to go up 3 points. And people in the city are feeling a little crankier than normal. Hopeful? Are they feeling hopeful? Hopeful is the heading. We're going to puzzle this out together, y'all. Hopeful is the heading that I wrote on my second side. And I have 2 down arrows and 1 up arrow, which is net 1 down. So hope falls, but only slightly. And now, as we move forward in time, it's been about a month The group of refugees is about 18 to 20 strong. A few of them did need to go to the infirmary. The child that Martha healed is doing well after the procedure. Some of them, many of them that are old enough and able-bodied enough have taken up jobs, especially in places like the coal mines out at the fringes of town, taking on some of the least desirable labor in order to support the city. Unfortunately, though, as time has gone on, the resources, the food resources in particular, have started to run thin. Maybe a little bit more thin than you would think with just an influx of a couple of hands full of children and things like that. But unfortunately, it's been a month since the refugees arrived, and it's been about 2 weeks that you've been on a steady diet of soup and only soup. And it's good, but it's not a lot. And it's hard to work your jobs on this. We find ourselves here as we open our scene. All of our characters are here to have dinner, and you are sitting at a table with your bowl of soup. Are you sitting together? Who are you sitting with? And what was your day like today? Whoever wants to go first.
I'm sitting by Martha, and I am I have my tape measure out, and I am speaking to Martha about how I'm pretty sure that if I can find one of the smart kids that we brought in, they'll fit in a piece of machinery to be able to fix a part that I need fixed. And I'm pretty sure that they can fit based on my measurements, but I'm not sure. I don't know if they have the finger strength to fix the part.
In the city, have we pressed the issue that the children must help us, or is that not an issue?
At this point, there has been a law passed that children can stay in shelters during the workday. The question does still remain, will we train them as engineers or as doctors before they become adults? Remains to be seen. However, sorry, I just saw the chat.
I will. I will do nothing but laugh. Martha will give a nod and listen to what Clara is talking about, and this would just be a one-off job. This wouldn't be This would be something the child would constantly have to do, right?
Well, unless it broke again, and then they could fix it again because they fit really well.
I give a nod because, she gives a nod because, the fact that this situation has come up is terrible, but at the same time, it makes sense because this child can help. And I ask, what exactly is the task? Is it?
Well, I mean, to keep, everything running, and there are certain parts that require maintenance, and there are spots you have to get into to, fix bolts, get in, and it can be hard. I mean, I don't have very large hands by any means, but even mine are cumbersome and hard in certain places.
It sounds dangerous.
You continue to put your heads together and chat about this. Pearl, are you serving or are you eating right now?
Pearl's had a very long day, so someone a little younger than her has taken over. Pearl was awake at one time, but now she's just that elderly person sitting in the corner with the soup spoon in her hand, just sleeping. Maybe listening, probably sleeping.
And what about Arnold? Arnold, where are you in this dining room? We can't hear you.
Sorry. I think Arnold probably would have been like one of the last people to enter for dinner tonight. So he probably just grab a bowl and you'll see Pearl kind of nodding off a little. So take his bowl over to her and maybe just tuck her in like a blanket or something, make sure she's nice and comfortable, or before he sits opposite of her and just will quietly eat the soup, watching her to make sure she's okay. Because she's old and old people die quick out here. Oh.
That's true. That is unfortunately true. She seems pretty alive when you go close to her to check. And the rest of the place begins to liven up a bit too. Somebody has gone up to get some food at the counter, and you vaguely hear the sound of a ladle scraping the bottom of a pot and saying, "Oh, that's the end of the dinner service today. We're all out. So sorry." And you look up, and it is one of this fellow. He works in one of the soup kitchens outside of the coal mines and things like that. You all would know. He does have a name. You would know him as Raymond.
We just call him Raymond for short.
Yeah, he's just Raymond. Yes, exactly. It's one of those new age names, but you're like, it's just Raymond.
Okay, way.
My name is no. Anyway, that bit we're gonna bury it. And anyway, he says, "Are you joking? How I just got here. I just came in from the soup kitchens. They just closed the mines down. They're working extended shifts these days. I'm hungry." And the person behind the counter says, I'm so sorry. I'll go in we do sometimes have, some raw food that we haven't cooked up. I might be able to." And the younger person goes into the back, and Raymond just kind of puffs and turns around and looks around at the space. There's another woman who stands. She was having dinner in the corner. This is Tennyson Brooke, and she's tall with like a short cropped hair, wearing a long apron, and she stands up to follow the younger woman in the back to have a conversation. And Raymond is gonna just kind of kick his boots on the floor, and I don't know, do any of you do anything at this moment?
Pearl is startled from her sleep. She goes, "Oh, Philbin. Oh, I thought my second husband was here." And I just look around. Ray Ray. Little Ray Ray, what are you doing standing in line?
Pearl, they're out of soup.
Oh. Well, here, I haven't touched mine. It's okay, Ray Ray. You're young and you have more use than I do. Take it.
Pearl, you eat your soup. You can have mine. I'll give him mine.
No. Then you have to take mine.
No, I think I have things to do.
You have to take
I don't have time to eat right now.
Just give a little and just
take my soup, young man.
False modesty.
Raymond didn't hesitate as soon as Arnold offered his. He took the bowl out of Arnold's hand and he said, "Thank you. Thank you." Yeah. And he turned away, and he's just kind of he's going to start eating the soup. He hears you all clamoring about all giving a little bit. He's got what he needs at this point, so.
Rude. I do. Claire does absolutely say that out loud.
You want him to hear it, or are you trying to hide it?
Yeah, I'm certainly not trying to hide it.
It says, and what have you done all day that makes you think I'm rude for needing food? I've been on my feet feeding others all day. What have you done for the city?
Help prepare the heat.
Well, and you have soup, don't you?
Yeah, and I was trying to express the idea that if we all gave you a little bit into a separate bowl, no one person would go hungry, but you chose not to listen to that and chose a selfish choice, which was to have soup for yourself and then choose that one other person didn't have soup.
So he said he wasn't hungry.
And you believe that?
Listen, I gotta take everybody at face value out here. I don't have the energy to be reading between the lines, miss. And he walks over to Arnold and he says, would you like your soup back?
Sorry, you can have it. I really am not hungry. And I get it. She doesn't work in the mines like you and I. She doesn't know the labor we do, the hard it is. Drink your soup.
To be clear, Raymond does not work in the mines. He works outside of the mines. He works in a soup kitchen that is loosely affiliated with the church that provides warm meals to workers while they're on shift. So he does feed you. You would know.
Let me rephrase that then.
Yeah.
Does that mean the church would give him stuff?
She's just a tinker. She doesn't understand the work you do is as vital as it is. If you aren't able to feed the miners, we have no coal, and if we have no coal, the mine stops. And we all die.
Exactly. Did you say that thing out loud about the resources from the church?
No, I think I would say it hushly to Clara. I'd be like, but doesn't the church also have their own rations?
Right, that's what I said. It doesn't he already work in a place that has food?
And I'm saying that like quietly with my head down, not to cause a stir. She doesn't want to hurt people's feelings in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I actually think I might want you to make a little sneak roll about that.
Gonna roll the sneak because character's not sneaky at all.
Woo! Love it. Okay, so add your feat die. We're gonna do your skill die of like a resolve, and then you don't have stealth, you said?
No, I don't. I have awareness, scavenging, scholarship, close combat, medicine, persuasion, so
I will give you an upgrade because there's a general commotion going on in the dining room that you would be able to like hide under. Like not everybody is hushed and listening to this conversation. So you have an upgrade to one of those dice, which for those of you who are just learning how to play means that of the 3 dice that Max is choosing from Martha's sheet, he can choose to change one of them to the next level up. So if, for example, he wanted to take his unskilled stealth skill, that D4, he could turn that into a D6, which seems like might be what he's going to do.
Yeah, it's a higher percentage chance to get a higher number, blah, blah, blah. And so that's the best choice. So, because the D4s, anyways, here we go, button.
Okay, yeah, that is plenty. It is, you said it maybe a little louder than you thought, and you had a little moment of like, oh, that came out a little more than I meant it to. But it does go unnoticed by Raymond, who is feeling very something about himself, about having this soup and saying mean things to ladies with dirty faces. So you say that to Clara without going noticed. As a whole. And he just he does a noisy slurp of the bottom of his soup, and he sets it down on the counter where where Tennyson and the serving girl have returned, looking stressed, very stressed.
I clock him on the head when he slurps the soup. That's rude, and Nana don't play. Ray, you know better. People manners, even in difficult times, it's what makes us human.
I'm sorry, Nana. And he just looks around a little bit, and he goes out the door very quickly.
Clara very quietly puts her wrench back down by her foot.
Now that Raymond is gone, hey Clara, didn't mean anything by it. Sometimes it's just best to tell people what they want to hear. Less fighting, less problems, less trouble. I really honestly didn't mean anything by it.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because I wasn't going to share my soup with you, but now I am.
It's all right, I really am not hungry.
I don't believe that.
Fine, I just have a little bit of a drink. That'll be good enough for me for tonight.
As you are having that exchange, behind you, Tennyson and the young serving girl have also had their own exchange, hushed under breath. And now the young serving girl is leaving out through the front of the cookhouse in a bit of a rush. And Tennyson is starting to clean up the serving dishes and things like that. And it's clear that dinner service is winding down.
Clara's curious about where the younger one's going.
Yeah. How do you go about finding that out? Do you ask Tennyson or do you peek out the door?
I'll peek out the door, out the window. I'll see where they're going.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say you peek out the window because opening the door lets in the cold, right? But you can look out the glass of the window into the town square, and you can see it doesn't take long because all she's had to do is essentially cross what is conceptually the town square, but is really the town circle, if you will, because it goes around the, so she crosses the town circle to a small little, it's a little hut sort of moment that is near the, what do you call it? I've totally forgotten what the generator called. So good. Wow. But right near the generator, which is kind of like an outpost for a messenger type place. But it also happens to be where the foreman will often hang out, just guiding people who are there switching shifts or whatever, kind of in the center of town. And it's also known that the foreman is good friends with the general and they play cards a lot. So she disappears into that little hut for just a moment. And so you can imagine that she's speaking with one of those people.
Okay. That's good enough for me. I will turn back towards the group and just be like, Pearl, isn't it weird that we ran out of food? Ran out of soup?
Well, we had more earlier, but our supplies have gone down recently over time. I mean, we did add new people to our town when you all returned with 18 young children that all needed to be fed. So it makes sense.
But I also gave the hunters the location of a polar bear. So, I mean.
And you remember the first night that they brought that bear back too. That was a big day. There was a good dinner that night.
could not the bones still be used to make broth?
They could. I don't know where the helpers could have left them, though. I just show up and they give me things to cook, and I cook them, and I feed you all, and then I take a little nap, and...
I will... Can I use one of our chat NPCs?
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna grab Jansen. If I see Jansen, I'm gonna grab Jansen, the little 10-year-old who runs a message delivery service. I'm gonna tell him to go intercept the message.
Amazing. Jansen is hanging out in the corner having his own soup. He's been just like chilling, we'll say. You got it, he says. He got the job. And he gets up and pops out the door. Jansen is going to be able to see that the young girl and the serving girl and the foreman are actually coming out of the door as he leaves the door of the cookhouse, and they are headed directly back here with Lieutenant Westover, the governor of the town. They were all in there playing cards, so he turns around and he's like, hey.
Clara's really mad about that because she offered her him the last couple spoonfuls of his soup to go do it. I'm just like, I should have.
He's extra full. You
Feels
got
the deal.
a little meal. And they are making their way back in with a bit of a purpose, actually. And they walk directly to Tennyson, who is putting the ladle in the last big soup pot and setting it up on the counter. Jason loves his job. Amazing. The mayor, governor, whatever job he has, he runs things kind of. He is like, so you're telling me that there was a break-in, that there was food that was stolen? And he's not a subtle fellow. He is, the dining room has emptied out a bit. There's like a small handful of people in here, Jansen being one of them, who may not be able to read but can understand words. But they're all, you're mostly the people in here. And he's just like, when did this happen? How did you find out? And Tennyson says, come back and I'll show you. And she shows them into the back of the cookhouse. Do you try to follow?
Pearl's nosy, she's in.
I'm in.
Yeah. You go into the back of the cookhouse, and it's like, I'm imagining you go behind where the serving people are, and then there's like the kitchen, the hot part where all of the food is cooked, and then behind is where the dishes are, and then out at the very, very back is where the food is stored, right? So that's where you would normally have like a walk-in freezer. Who needs one of those in Frostpunk apocalypse? But you do, you keep it walled in, it's locked up. And can't read the room. It's usually locked up, but Tennyson moves aside one of the crates that usually contains like dried meat or vegetables or whatever, and there is a hole in the wall of the store, of the storeroom. And also it seems like as you look around, there may be less baskets than normal. It wouldn't be something that you might notice right off. But with the hole in the wall and the fact that food has run out today, there's something that is taking this food. She just points at the wall and she says, it's a large hole, a whole human could fit in through this hole. I have no idea how much is missing. I'm sorry, we don't have enough hands here to keep account of everything. I don't know what to say. And Westover puts a hand on her shoulder as if to be comforting, but he doesn't really have a very comforting presence. And he just kind of like puts his hand over his mouth and he stares at it. This is not acceptable. What are we, something must be done. And turns around as though he's going to leave, and he sees the lot of you standing in the back. And what are you all doing back here?
Well, I work here.
And I didn't mean you.
I know you didn't mean me, but I had to answer.
We listening?
So now you know. Well, something must be done. I should call the people out into the square. We need to denounce this immediately.
No. And Clara agrees. I mean, shouldn't.
Yeah, no, we need more information. We don't want to scare people into thinking we are out of food.
Yeah.
Well, the people will find out that we're out of food soon enough, one way or another, if we don't tell them that somebody has done something nefarious.
But it would also tip our hand to whoever did it.
It's true. We should set a trap.
I like traps. That's it. I mean...
We should also think about sending out more hunters to start replacing the food lost.
The foreman, Lucian Ash, they use they pronouns. They say, it's tight. The jobs, we're barely staffing the coal mines with the soup the way that it is. Productivity is low. We've got to keep the generator running. I can't sacrifice any workers at this point.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess we'll all starve now, won't we?
At this point, let's have a couple of persuasion rolls here. Because in order to convince Lucian to part with workers, that will definitely require a persuasion of some kind, or to find volunteers who are willing to switch their jobs or take up more. And we're also trying to stop a public announcement. So let's start with, let's see what we can do about Lucian. Hey, Martha. Does anybody else feel about this? How does anybody else feel about this plan to get more hunters? Now that Luciana says we can't sacrifice any more workers, let me see if anybody else want to weigh in on this or help, as it were.
Martha does want to say something that's been, and Martha will blame Clara for putting that terrible seed into her mind, and she'll speak up and say, mayhaps for just a little while, mayhaps some of the young ones can work the mines, because it would be too dangerous for them to be hunting.
Everything's dangerous these days. But I agree. Perhaps those children should be in the mines.
I have done some calculations, and they are quite small. They fit into places that may help us. We could reduce their shifts. Clara quickly reads the room. we could reduce their shifts, make them smaller to only account for some of the time, but there are more of them, so perhaps they can work shifts between them, so they're not working the full amount.
Lucian, sorry, were you going to say something, Arnold?
No.
Oh, okay. Lucian looks guardedly intrigued Westover is turning a little hot around the gills, as it were, feeling just like, how are we going to make this happen? So let's have a persuasion roll, though, to see how this is able to land on the two of them. Whichever one of you has better stats can take it. We're going to do a...
I have a D6 and a D8, D6, D6. So, I mean, that's where I'm sitting at.
persuasion.
I've got a D10 in influence, and then I have my persuasion is a D6 plus an up arrow, which I guess is
An upgrade.
You should do all the talking. You should convince them that child labor is a great way to go, and that while we're at it, we should go ahead and start digging up the corpses of those who passed, because we can say, I'm going to stop now. You can... We know who's playing the face character.
This is my first time playing a face. For real, for real. Now, Westover, listen here. It's called prioritization. These little ones can work the short shifts, but there's so many that they can rotate out. They don't have to work so long and hard. But we adults really need to get out there and get to hunting. And we need to set this trap to find out who is stealing.
All right, let's have that roll now. We're going to have you roll the D8 plus your persuasion plus, and I'm going to give you, actually, because you're getting the help from two. Did you already roll it?
Yeah.
Wait, I was going to give you more upgrades.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I take it back. It's practice.
Everybody, don't look. It was a practice roll.
You got to do like a warm-up roll. You know, it's always a throwaway.
Yeah. First pancake, right? Yeah. So
my first roll was a 19. How is that a throwaway pancake?
You had beginner's luck. You had beginner's luck.
It's a silver dollar pancake that's perfect with a little heart in the middle of it. Just bam.
Okay, so we're gonna have you, you roll your D8 plus you had a D6 with an upgrade for your persuasion, and then you had a D10 for your influence. You get that one upgrade from your persuasion, and I'm gonna give you 2 more upgrades because of your partners helping you. You got the 2 other players who are really leaning into this child labor thing. So go ahead and roll them.
So how does that work? Do I upgrade my persuasion up 2 more?
You can choose whichever ones you want to. You could make your D10 a D12. You could upgrade your D6 3 times. You could upgrade, you could do it however works best for you.
Okay, great. Then let's do D8, 9, 10. I know what dice are.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, I definitely did not take a stat class. I have no idea what the answer is.
Is that right? My D8 goes to a 12?
If you boosted D8 twice, that takes it up to a D12. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
19.
Nice. We were just talking about 19s a little bit ago. That sounds awesome. That's a very good roll. And Westover, especially because of your influence in the town, a lot of people respect you, Pearl. They really look up to you. The fact that you've survived through all of this makes you very much like town elder sort of moment. So they are, he nods and he kind of like, I suppose the short shifts just for a little while, just until we can figure out who's stealing this food, because it's not a natural, right? And he looks at Lucien, who is grinning at this point. He says, that will work. That will work. They said that. Now, but now, but we're not gonna. We have to tell people that we're forcing their children to work. That is an announcement that must be made. How do we justify this without telling them?
You tell them if they don't want soup anymore and they want a hearty meal, we're going to have to make some changes around here.
Also, like, a lot of them are orphans, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard to keep a straight face.
I was too. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
orphans.
I mean, it's true, though. Like, most of them are orphans, so you won't have to tell their parents because they don't have any.
Checks out. Strong. Real strong.
I can't argue with your logic. Wow. Ooh, maybe we call them apprenticeships. That's a thought from the corner of the room.
No, that's my line. That feels icky.
Oh, that's
My line. Apparently, that's my line.
Wait, that's your line? Apprenticeships is your line?
Yeah. So that makes it icky for some reason. I don't know why.
Wait, we'll unpack that later. That's wild.
I would like to.
As soon as you start pretending it's not what it is, then it's a problem.
That makes sense. Martha wants to ask Lucian about like safety concerns for the young ones when they're working, and that we should make sure that it's safe for them as much as possible. So, in the sense that we should have maybe like one of the engineers check over the work area to make sure that like handrails or helmets or whatever else they need. There's an engineer that lives in town, Ambrose, and reach out to them and see if they can assist in making sure that the young ones are safe when they work.
I can reach out to this Ambrose, absolutely. That's good thinking. You should be on our task force. You might. I so should. That's a good one. Yeah. They are always carrying a clipboard, and they put a little pen behind their ear and they say, that's good thinking. I know that I can find Ambrose at the workshop tomorrow morning. It is getting late. Are we making this announcement today? Because I would like to get started with it, right away. We're all hungry, as it were. Westover kind of like looks at the rest of you being like, I still don't know what we're just going to say that in order to have more food, that's the move.
I mean, I can craft a phrase that somebody could say, but my character doesn't. I don't feel my character has the skill to put those words together. So I will say the words, and then the person with the higher set of dice will be the one who says the stuff. Right? That sound good? And the words are that with these new children here, there's an opportunity for us to increase our stock of food supply. And to make that happen so that all of us don't have to work as hard, the young ones will be taking on part shifts working in the mines. And those who are in the mines will be coming out to assist the hunters. How's that sound? Does that sound, put a spin on it that makes it?
Well, yeah, let's have one more persuasion roll for this public announcement to not mention the stealing of food and to use Martha's words instead. This one's going to be a little bit easier than the first one is because you've got them mostly on board. But if there's one thing about Westover, he doesn't like lying. So that is that. Who's going to roll me a persuasion? Pearl, are you doing it again, or Martha?
Yeah, I'll just do it. It's fine.
Okay. You have, you can.
I would like to convince what's his name? The lieutenant?
Yeah, Westover.
Westover. I'd like to convince Westover that it's not lying, it's gaslighting.
Which sounds prettier.
Yeah, it's because we need gas.
Right.
To light our homes and roads.
Yep.
Okay, persuade me with your dice. You can have 2 upgrades. So while we're mathing, that is the feat plus persuasion, which I believe Martha's unskilled in. No, you have persuasion.
Persuasion.
You have a D6 in persuasion, right?
Right.
And then the influence was a
D6.
D6 as well.
So I'm just bumping my. If I remember the math correctly, it was better to spread it out. Yeah, my stats are coming back to me. Boom! Called it.
Whoa! That's way overkill for how hard this was going to be. You say gaslighting, and he's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not lying. And we're not lying to them. We're just gaslighting them. And that's.
Okay.
And this is where, because it doesn't say I can't lie, this is where Martha lies to him and says, that's not as bad.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, and he looks over at, wait, what's your name? Jansen. He looks over at Jansen in the corner of the room and he says, hey, son, will you go ring the bell and call everyone out to the square, the circle. Why does it feel weird just to the circle? To the circle.
To the generator.
To the generator. To the generator. That does feel better to say thank you for that. And I was waiting to see if Jansen says you got it and runs out the door to ring the bell. It takes a couple of minutes, but the bell is in the center of the circle, as it were. You hear the bell ringing and a clamor of people gathering in the center of town. Westover kind of screws his courage to the sticking place, as it were, stands up a little bit taller, looks around and says, you all think through this trap, right? I'll go make this announcement and then we'll see what we can do in the morning. I suppose you can listen if you like, but you already know. So, and he kind of turns on a heel, quite militaristically, remnant of times gone by, and goes out the door with Lucien kind of hot on his heels. Do you follow, or are you going to stay here and plot?
Well, I'm curious as to what kind of trap you all had. I ain't too good with traps or things like that, but I'm open to listening. If you had a thought.
I'm paying attention to the crafty old lady in the room because they are old and they're crafty and they're constantly thinking about how to get back at people. So I wait for the eldest of the crafters to speak.
Well, I think that we should continue on as if we don't know any better about this giant hole in the food pantry. Put everything back the way it was. We send some people out, they come back with something special, we put it in here, and then we just have someone watching.
Ooh. Yeah.
Very simple.
Is it too late to have the mayor, I don't know, make an announcement about a special item or something? And then I wonder if there's a way we can trap the hand coming in. Like if they pull something comes down. Clara immediately stops, forgets that you're in the room, and immediately starts doing math in her head about how she can make something that will catch the person trying to reach it.
You know, in old days, before my time, well, you know, maybe still during my time, either way, there's a device called a guillotine. Quite humane. Very straight to the point. It's the most humane way to take care of a problem.
Straight to the point. Straight to the edge, you mean?
She's made with a little bit of love and a little bit of malice.
I mean, you're not wrong. That would work, and then we would absolutely, and then we just find the person that is missing an arm, like recently missing an arm, because there are people who are missing arms. But
or if they stick their head in, you know, it just severs the spine and they're done, and we'll find them here in the morning.
Well, if the person becomes injured, they would have to go to the infirmary if they were smart, and then I would know who they were, especially if the injury was particular.
that's true. And then if we do make the injury smaller, then we don't have to waste more resources on the person who already stole resources. So we need it just enough to send them to the infirmary, right?
Oh, this plotting is hurting my head a bit. I think I'm gonna go take a look at the pantry and just see if there's anything there. Maybe a clue or something.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, look around and search the pantry. That's going to be a little feat roll. So let's start building that dice pool. You've got your D8 for your feet. We're going to have you use the engagement skill. Do you have that?
I do not have that, no.
Okay, so that'll be a D4. And then we'll give you... You're going to use resolve as your last die. So what's that one for you?
I really am not this smart of a character, so this is not going to go well, but let's see what happens.
What was your last die? I'm going to give you some upgrades, but what is your dice to start with? You got a D8, a D4, and what's your resolve die?
D8.
A D8. Okay, so 2 D8s and a D4. I'm going to give you an upgrade because you have full blanch. You don't have to hide that you're looking around. And that, you know what? That's enough. That's just the one upgrade.
Yeah, that's fair.
Could I
Welcome
be
to people.
assisted with
Scavenging?
Yeah, could I assist with that?
That was terrible.
Oh. I would say, so scavenging is meant to be like a finding resources.
Stuff. Okay.
Yeah, stuff. So
Never mind.
I love creative thinking, but not on that one. And you rolled an 11. So let me see. That's not terrible. It's just under standard. Let me see what you will find. Oh, those are your notes, not mine. You find I will say you notice that the hole in the wall seems to have been dug out with tools. So you know for absolute certain that it was not like a wild animal that somehow made its way into the center of town and made it in through the wall. You know that for sure, that this is a human-made hole. And I will say that's it. That's about all. Yeah, we'll say that's about what you noticed.
Fine. If the hole was made by tools, I'm assuming is it wood or the wall? Yeah. Does it look like it was more bashed in with a heavy tool or cut into like a saw or something like that?
It was more bashed. Yeah.
Bash. I would just return back to the group and say, I couldn't find anything. Looks like it was bashed in. Maybe a hammer or something. But guys, figure out a trap yet.
I'm not fond or keen with tools, but nothing from the infirmary can bash a wall in.
No.
Well, it does narrow it down that it's probably not anyone who with any sort of skill with tools or access to tools. So that's something.
Could be a minor.
I do find it very odd that someone who works in a soup kitchen had to come all the way over here to get food.
Well, little Ray Ray was always a greedy little one. You can tell by his little belly he's got.
I think it might be worth checking out.
It might be he always runs out quickly at the mines. Doesn't necessarily surprise me that he comes all the way here. I do.
I just think it's worth a look.
Martha will agree with Clara by quietly nodding and then just saying, I'll go with you to the soup kitchen at the mines to look.
I'll come join. I need to get out and stretch these bones.
Now, do you want to go out tonight and search things overnight, or are you going to wait until morning?
Martha doesn't have another shift at the infirmary till midday tomorrow, so she can go out and be busy and then get rest in the morning. She just has to skip being at the public house tonight, where she plays dominoes and drinks all night.
Yes, let's strike while the iron's hot.
Well, I will ask if we need to, if we are setting a trap here, if we should close this hole so that more isn't stolen.
Mm.
No, let them be unaware that we are onto them.
Mm. So are you going to set a trap or no then?
I would like to try.
Yeah.
I would like to try to set a trap, even if it's as simple as having a light cut or like, I don't want to hurt this person.
Yeah.
But I do want it to be noticeable that something has happened. How big is the hole?
The hole is about the size that a grown man would need to crawl through. So I'm imagining like 2.5 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide-ish. It'd be like a small, not like a big dude, but like a grown man could probably crawl through it.
Okay.
2.5 feet. Am I measuring that correctly? You know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I mean.
A small hole that a man could crawl through. That's all I know.
Yeah, there it is. That's yeah.
I've got it in my brain.
Thanks.
Okay. I, Christian, do not have a brain to create this sort of trap.
All right.
Clara Kevin does.
Some dice about it. Absolutely.
I would love to.
I'm going to say, so first and foremost, what you'll need to do, because I'm imagining you're kind of like MacGyvering a sort of wounding mechanism that is easy to hide and is triggered by somebody that is coming through, right?
Yeah, like I get that one of the kitchen knives to do a light cut on the arm or something.
They give you 3 meat cleavers.
Yeah, use a meat cleaver so that it hits them. It's gonna, as they're crawling in, they're not gonna like hit a major artery or anything.
Oh no, you should still go with the guillotine. It's quite a simple mechanism. It's just a string, and you just attach it to this basket. Where they move the basket, thing drops, and then it just done.
No, Pearl, I agree. The guillotine is an incredible machine. Like, it's incredibly well designed. I just don't know if it's going to serve the purpose that we're looking for.
And Pearl, as most old people do, does not listen to Clara and just continues on about how great the guillotine is while shuffling around the kitchen.
And with this inspiration and the intent to hurt but not behead, not quite behead, I'm going to say, Clara, you can roll me I want you to do an engineering. So we're going to have you do a feat check about, I'm going to call it a MacGyver roll, but I want you to use the engineering skill. Do you have that?
I do. It is
Okay.
a D8.
And then also the ingenuity attribute.
That's a D10.
Okay, so you have 2 D8s and a D10. You definitely get an upgrade for the wisdom about the guillotine. That's one upgrade that you
Right.
get. I'm going to give you another... I think it's another upgrade that Pearl just had these 3 cleavers to give to you. So you
Right.
can have an upgrade for the cleavers. And that seems sufficient to me. There you go. So you can upgrade your dice twice and then roll them.
Okay. I'm going to roll a D12, a D8, and a D10.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah, you absolutely are able to put together. It kind of is like a guillotine, but made with multiple cleavers that are spaced far enough apart that they won't sever anything, but they'll just do a little slicey action on the side. And it looks from the inside really complicated, but you know in your heart that it is going to work. You set your trap. It's laying in wait. You turn around to look at each other as you are getting ready to go out into the frost, and you hear the clamoring of the crowd in the center of town, which is a slight hush, but sounds kind of agitated as you can hear Westover's voice pitched over the sound of the generator, over the sound of the wind, and as best as he can over the ebb and flow of the clamor of the crowd, as he tells you all that they're implementing child labor to solve your soup problem. So, hey, people of New London, how do you feel about that? Let's get another citizen poll going here. How does the implementation of child labor to solve your starvation problems feel in your heart? Let us know while we take...
At reduced shifts. Reduced shifts.
At reduced shifts. It's at reduced shifts, but you don't have to eat soup anymore. Maybe. Let us know in the poll. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and we will see you on the other side. We're back with with Frostpunk, the role-playing game. We did just have a big announcement of the fact that we will now be implementing short shifts temporarily for children in the coal mines to make sure that the generator can continue running while adults are added to the ranks of the hunters to bring in more food to beef up, quite literally, that soup. That's a really... where's the mouse? Hello, mouse. Can we move, please? Thank you. That is quite the move there. And the people have spoken. They really did speak. And I'm choosing to choose the votes as like upgrades and downgrades. So many of them cancel each other out. But our net on each of them is people are generally pretty unhappy. Discontent rises in the city as hope falls ever so slightly. You can feel it even as you go out into the streets. You've left this makeshift multiple-bladed guillotine trap for whoever has been stealing the rations out of the storeroom in the cookhouse. We'll find out who's been doing that and if they'll come back tonight. And the people in the town center are dispersing for the evening, but the vibe is tense. There are hushed arguments happening between couples who are shepherding their kids back into the residential district. For those of you who are curious, the purple area on the map is the residential district of the city. There are more steam hubs in that area, and steam hubs are smaller versions of generators, which allow the area to stay warmer and more comfortable for people who are living there. So they head off to the warmth warmth of their beds, having hushed conversations. You overhear at least one person going by saying, just because those refugee kids are here and eating up all of our food, I don't know why our children have to work in the mines. It's absolutely unfair. But they're off before you can even catch who even said that. You all are headed out as the crowd disperses. I think that at least a few of you, are you all going to check in on that soup kitchen outside of the coal mines? Anybody got any other ideas of where they want to go? We love to split the party.
Arnold's not smart enough to go out on his own, so following everyone.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
While Clara was making that trap, would Clara have any idea, like, I don't know, what sort of thing would make a hole like that? Like, is it a sledgehammer that would be used in breaking stones?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. And how about this? I'm gonna give you, why don't you make me a feat roll. Let's have you do a search or noticing something unusual. And how about I have you use either awareness or engagement.
Okay.
Or if you have scholarship. Do you have scholarship for your metalworking?
I do have scholarship.
Is that higher? That's.
Give me 1 second. I accidentally deleted my character sheet. Let me pull that back up. There we go. Okay. Awareness is a D4. Scholarship is a D8.
Okay. What do you have for engagement?
Engagement.
Do you have that?
I don't.
Okay, that's okay. So we'll use your scholarship because you work in labor, you work with tools, have done all, even from the before times, really. So we'll let you use your scholarship die, and then we're gonna have you use ingenuity.
Ingenuity, which is a D10.
Yeah.
15.
15 is, and we'll say you are able to say like a sledgehammer. Yes, absolutely. But they may have also needed to use something with a sharper edge, something maybe like a pickaxe, or because in order to also cut through the wood without causing it to cave in nearly as much, there was a bit of a cutting action. Maybe not as efficient as like a saw blade, because there are still stress fractures. But yeah, that is what you notice. Why can't I hear you anymore?
As I muted myself like a fool. I will ask Arnold if he would like to go with me to perhaps figure out where these tools, like these sorts of tools. I don't know. I know he was a stone. He worked with stones. He might know his way around a pickaxe and such. If I suggest that, I think that's what the tool that was used. Perhaps he might have an idea of where it came from.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go along with you. I mean, I know some of them, maybe they'd be more inclined to talk to me. Spent plenty of years down there in the mines.
Pearl's suited up. She's already out the door.
Standing in front of the cooktop. The heat from the generator, by the way, here in the center of town can be intense sometimes when the wind isn't whipping through. It's like standing in front of a campfire, but like your back is still unimaginably cold, but you can like feel it almost roasting on your cheeks a little bit as you look out into the night and across the town center. So we have Arnold and Clara who are going to go to the mines. Well, that happens to be where the soup kitchen is too. So you're all headed in the same direction, just with slightly different goals. I'm going to go ahead and move these tokens over here so we're all in the same place. Okay. Let's start. So as you approach the mines, it's cold on this side of town, by the way. You do pass by a few steam hubs, but they're turned off because it's the middle of the night and you need to preserve your coal. You're not going to heat workplaces that aren't active. And the workday is currently over. There are no workers in the industrial area, except for a couple who are on watch here and there. But by and large, you're not going to run into anybody. The first place that you cross is the soup kitchen. And soup kitchen is a very generous phrase for what this is. It's really like, you know, when you, not to threaten everybody in the middle of the Frostlands with the image of a beach, but you know, when you're on a beach and there's like these shacks and they're like small enough for little concession stand moments, and they're just kind of like a little bit more rickety than normal. They're not as well insulated as a normal building, but that's about it. The size of like 2 people would typically work there. Arnold, I'll say you would know without a doubt that the people who work at that soup kitchen outside of the coal mines is Raymond Dixon and his wife Lydia. They are there together every day, serving you all soup in the middle of your workday. Sorry, I just caught the leaving the next on at all the time. That's woo! The foreman sweat somewhere on the other side of town. Anyway, so you pass by this shack. It's not necessarily locked up. They don't keep supplies in here overnight. You know that they would typically like bring things in the morning and then take it out at the end of the day. At least they are supposed to, right? So Clara and Martha and Pearl are going to break off and search that, while Clara and Arnold make their way deeper towards the mines. So let's start with Martha and Pearl. Outside of the soup kitchen, the door isn't locked. It doesn't even really latch. It's like a wood door. You kind of have to shove it against some, like, there's like a basket behind it or something. It doesn't open easily, but you're able to like push it a bit and go in. Once you go inside, the one side of the wall clearly has the shutter, which is down and like closed for the night, so snow doesn't get in. But you can see how it would lift up and be like an awning over the window where they will serve people. That serving station has underneath it relatively neat stacks of wooden bowls, all underneath it. There is a sink in the corner over here behind the door. And there are tables, like work tables over here where they keep pots of soup. And there's one range, I wanted to say it was gas powered, but we know it's not. It's a coal powered stove. And it is in there to keep a small amount of soup warm. So you can put it on there and warm it up while you're serving it and that kind of thing. What are you doing inside this soup kitchen? You're muted.
Opening cabinets and looking for, food, but there's none here. This isn't something this is not what Martha was expecting when she came here. She expected like there to be food here because to her that makes sense. And so, but almost ignorant of the truth of the matter, will look to her compatriot and be like, "Where's all the food at?"
Is there like another shack where they keep their supplies of groceries?
You know that the church comes to the cookhouse on a regular basis to pick up rations. It's probably on like an every other day basis. They do keep most of it on hand, but not a lot at the church, because they're keeping just what they need and taking it. At least that's what they're supposed to do.
Well, Would you like to cause some good little trouble?
I am not keen on making trouble. I would rather keep things peaceful. Someone works here. But I still would like to know what you're thinking.
Well, little Ray Ray's such a naughty boy, so impolite. I just figured we'd give him some extra work, like cleaning dishes, if we made all these clean little dishes a little bit dirty.
Okay, well, Martha will think that the way to do that is to put snow on them. So she's like, points outside. We can bring some snow in and set it on.
Better yet, and I dig into the snow until we get to dirt.
Okay.
The ground? You'll help?
Yeah.
All right. I won't make you roll for this because you're able to get down there. The ground is frozen, so you're not able to get like chunks of mud, but you do get that like dirty snow that is like extra. It's got like some rocks and some of the like, there was once grass here, it's like dead and in there. And yeah, so yellow snow. What? I mean, I don't know what Pearl is going to do before she scoops up this snow, but I don't think that Martha's into it. No. Anyway, sorry, the chat distracted me. So you do that. You start scooping snow into the bowls that are underneath the way, and we'll zoom out a bit and we go into the mines. Now, as you approach the mines, there is a fellow who is sitting in a chair with a shotgun, sort of like just sitting there being like, hey, whoa, hey, what's, who's out here? What's going on? It's dangerous. What? I can't see. Announce yourself.
Hey, it's me, Arnold Pierce. I've been here in a while.
You recognize it as James Audley. He has worked here for a long time.
James, good to see you again. No, I haven't been here in a while, but wanted to come take a look at it. Have you met Clara?
No. Hi, wow, where have you been? What's
I've just been going out, volunteering for shifts, look for people out in the snow.
Oh, I heard about that group a month ago that went missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a shame we did find 2 of them, brought them back. Clara here was a big help.
That's hard. It's hard.
It's very hard.
We're the only ones that keep us. We're the ones that toe that line. It's us out here, Arnold. It's really us that are keeping everybody warm.
Yeah. It really is you doing this. I bet it's hard to continue doing it without the correct tools. Do you have enough tools? Are you missing any?
I haven't heard of any tools going missing. No, why?
Well, I'm just a bit of I'm pretty handy. So now you had experience working with metal, and so I am just hoping there's some way I can help in making sure that you have good tools to continue doing what you do. I didn't know if you were short on tools or.
And he laughs a really big laugh that seems like maybe a little too big for the moment, and it echoes in the cavern a little behind him. He says, I thought you knew something that I didn't know. You can come and take a look at our tools if you want. Yeah, we can always use an improvement.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks, James.
Yeah. And he walks you back.
You don't have to come. I know the way. But just stay out here. We'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Don't want to pull you away from your post, but thanks, James.
my shift is going to be up here in not too long, and Axel is taking over for me. So I might not be here when you get back, but it was good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. Let Axel know that we're here, just so he doesn't think anything's wrong. And
oh, sure, yeah. You're right. I should do that. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks. Hey, wait. And he's gonna. I like my tools the way that they are. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I have a lucky pickaxe. I'm just gonna don't leave. Just leave that one alone. It's you know what? I'll just take it with me. It's fine. I'll just take it with me.
Okay.
And he goes out to sit in his thing. He grabs and it has like a red sort of wrap around it, which like red dye is. It seems like a piece of clothing that is maybe like tied around the handle as like a sentimental sort of thing. And he grabs that from a corner away from the rest of them. It's clearly like he wants to make sure nobody else is touching it, and he brings it out to the front with him.
As soon as we are out of earshot, I'll say, suspicious much?
I don't know, it just seems suspicious to me. We all have our favorite things.
Okay.
I've got a nail file that I carry around with me.
Why?
Okay. I don't know what to do with that information. I will...
Nails good and clean,
Oh. And I look at my own nails, and they are filthy.
Yeah.
Overgrown. Feel nasty.
I think Arnold kind of looks down and kind of looks back up. So, if you want, I can get you a nail file of your own, but this one's special, and I hope you understand I'm not going to just loan it out.
Oh, it's okay.
Please don't bite your nails. That's just... Okay, Clara. Maybe they're suspicious, I don't know, but I've known James for a while. I'm inclined to give him, the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, yeah, that's fine. Unless we find, fabric from that red wrap at the house, then it's fine.
But I didn't see any of that when I was in there, did you?
I didn't, no.
No. Maybe there's something else in here.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah. So between the two of you, looking at the tools, let's have you roll a feat. I think probably. Well, do you, Arnold? Do you have a scholarship skill as well? No. Okay. We'll lean on Clara's scholarship skill then as a metal worker. So Clara, I'm gonna give you two. You can have 2 upgrades for this role, and we're gonna have you use your scholarship. And I think this time we're gonna use a resolve as your attribute. We're gonna throw a little luck on it, actually.
Can I also assist by I've been here, I've worked here, and just seeing if there's anything out of place from that sense of familiarity I have to help out Clara as she's looking around?
Absolutely. Let's have you can roll separately, noticing of something unusual. Do you have engagement or awareness as a skill?
I do not. I'm a big meathead, and that's it. So.
Yeah. Let's have you. You're a big meathead. I think you're gonna have to do an unskilled roll, though. We're gonna call it search, but then I'm gonna say. Yeah, use resolve for that as well. But I'll give you an upgrade because you have Clara to rely on is the word I meant to say, in order to help you identify weird things. How are we doing over here? I heard some roleplaying.
18 for me.
Woo!
Clara has very good resolve.
And 17, even though you failed on one of those. Wow. These are very good rolls. You both are feeling really good about the thoroughness with which you're able to check all of the tools in this area. And I will say, you notice that there has been one of the while you're looking at the tools, this is actually you, Arnold. While Clara's looking at tools, you notice that there are these like bins. How do I describe this? I'm picturing them like the bins that get sent on like the carts like this, the ones where you like do like this, and they're like, but they're not like super huge, but they are like coal bins that you would use to transfer what you're doing. And you actually notice that one of them has been cleaned recently. Like there's not coal residue inside. Like somebody wiped it out. Why? Unclear, but they did. And Clara, you are going to notice that there is one pickaxe in particular that does seem to be quite dull on one end, and it was kind of stashed away under a pile of broken. It's not broken itself, but like one end of it is quite dulled on the pickaxe.
Okay.
Seems out of place to me. I don't know. Maybe, you have a much better way of looking at things than I do, but I've worked in the mines for years, and we don't clean out these mine carts or these bins. So I'm thinking, just being suspicious, like you want me to. Maybe it was cleaned out to store something they didn't want to get dirty, like food.
Ooh.
Because I know coal, once it gets on your skin, it doesn't come off for a long time. I've walked out of these mines looking like the night sky sometimes. We don't want that on your food.
Yeah. Where would this cart go? Where could it be? It like, we're in a storehouse, right? For like tools and stuff.
That's more of just where they store the coal. Oh. So,
yeah. That makes sense that you'd have to clear it out to store it. I wonder if I found this pickaxe, it's a little dull. I wonder if we can, does it have any characteristics about it? Any specialities that set it apart from the others?
Other than the fact that it was a perfectly good pickaxe in a pile of broken ones, it just needs to be like sharpened. Like there was no reason for it to be sorted with those. I would say that is the most outstanding thing about it.
Okay. I won't share that, but
now that's what I would call suspicious. Every miner knows you're only as good as your tools, and you never throw away a good at pickaxe.
Yeah, it still works even if it's dull. It could be easily fixed.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can find out who uses one, but I don't know.
I hate to admit that it may be like someone I've known, but someone who works down here in the clearing.
Well, maybe we can ask Axel, or do you have anyone you know that you trust?
You?
No, yeah, but I don't know the answers. I appreciate that. I trust you.
Thanks. I suppose Pearl and Martha don't know either.
Speaking of Pearl and Martha, I'm assuming at this point, are you going to head out into the snow to meet up with them? Or is there anything else you want to do in this tool room before you leave? You leave the mine, and you actually notice that the chair is empty. Hey, actually, speaking of Martha, before you all leave the mine, let's actually say, hey, Martha and Pearl, why don't you both give me a little perception roll? We're going to do, it's a feat roll, so you start with your D8. We're going to add awareness and resolve to that roll. And I am going to give you a downgrade since you're being naughty teens and you're making the dishes dirty and not paying attention to what's going on. But you can either do, if you choose to only do one roll, I'll give you an upgrade to cancel the downgrade, but you can both roll with a downgrade and take the highest roll if you prefer.
I have an upgrade automatically with the awareness test, so my free upgrade will automatically negate your downgrade. So I'm rolling a D8, a D10, and a D4.
All right.
Well, the D4 did the best.
Yikes.
Okay, so you already had an upgrade, but you're the only one rolling, so the GM gave you another upgrade, so you have another upgrade.
If Pearl doesn't roll and wants to give you an upgrade, so you can re-roll one of those twos at a higher die if you want to. How's that?
Okay. Bummer.
Whoa! Yeah, that was a lot. Now it's an 18. I don't know if y'all can hear my cat. He's talking down here. Okay, so that's an 18, which is a very good success. So you, Martha, especially because your heart's not really in the dirty dishery.
But people eat off that. Why would you do that? People eat.
And you leave the little hut to begrudge it, to be like, pretend that you're getting more snow half-heartedly. And you notice that Othello is leaving the coal mines with a pickaxe. And he's headed into the center of town.
I'm going to watch it. Like, am I seeing the last few moments of him walking by, or the?
You see him emerge the first few. So he's got to walk past you in order to get to the town. He's going to give you a bit of he's not going to walk directly up to you. He's not going to say hi. He's given a little bit of a wide berth, but he's not specifically sneaking. But he does have a pickaxe over his shoulder.
I'll definitely give him a wide berth because he's got a pickaxe. I don't have anything. So I'm just going to stand there and stay dressed warmly, and keep my hands rubbed together while Pearl does her felonious skullduggery in the soup kitchen.
It's called mischief, but all right.
And just as soon as he walks past and whatnot, gets by, if he says nothing to me, I'll just act as if I'm supposed to be here. And then I'm going to lean in to be like, Pearl, a man just left from the mine. He was carrying a pickaxe heading into town. Didn't Clara say something about a pickaxe? And I'm saying it quietly.
Can you speak up? I can't hear. I'm a bit old, He's talking through a wall at a door. Hello?
I'm going to say it louder and slower. Pearl, weren't we looking for a pickaxe? Didn't Clara say something about that?
Pearl comes to the door and sticks her head out. What are you talking about clarinets for?
I pause for a moment because she's an incredibly patient person. She goes, Clara.
Now, Martha, I don't like that tone.
Pickaxes.
Yes, what about them?
Didn't Clara say we were looking for a pickaxe, or they were looking for a pickaxe?
Oh, I seem to recall, yes.
I'm going to point now. Now I'm going to point into the darkness and say, "That man over there, he's heading into town with a pickaxe. Don't they normally? That one right there.
You
Don't
can
they
barely, yeah, with your eyes.
Don't you normally leave those? Don't they normally leave that to mine? Why would he take it with him? That makes no sense."
I don't know. I've left my spectacles somewhere. Yes.
That guy right there.
Oh, now you can see him. Yeah. Just barely make out the little fuzzy. The prescription's not quite right, but you can see the figure of a man. He's crossing through the industrial district towards the center of town.
Should we follow him?
Well, why not?
Okay, let's go.
I'm gonna have everybody. Martha, you're leading the charge on this one. I'm gonna have you roll me just a resolve die. I'm just curious what's gonna happen. And then Arnold, you roll me a resolve die as well. And we're just gonna see if you all see each other leaving or if you are gonna mishap.
So resolve die is whatever your resolve attribute is.
Yeah. That's not close enough. So Martha and Pearl make their way following the man who we all know is the person whose name I have already forgotten. His name is James Audley, that we met with the red-wrapped pickaxe. He's making his way towards the center of town with two sneaking ladies on his tail. And as they sneak up, are you sneaking? Are you trying to hide from him? Or are you just
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure with the D4 and her agility, she's not good at sneaking.
I think that's what you both have, so probably best to not try.
Yeah, like if it comes down to it, I probably have more close combat skills than I do sneaking abilities. I will just fight the bear.
Fantastic. So you head off and meet it's like they leave out one side of the frame and in come Arnold and Clara from the other side of the frame. You notice, by the way, as you are leaving, that James is not at his post and neither is Axel.
Now that is odd. People don't leave their post. They know better than that, especially James. He's been here for a while.
He was being very suspicious already when I brought up the tools, and now he's left his post with said tool.
Well, hopefully, Martha and Pearl saw where he went. We should go talk to them. I've heard that.
You walk up to the soup kitchen, which is very quiet, but is maybe not surprising because maybe they're sneaking and being, quiet, looking around. But they're not there. You open the door and all you see, though, is chunks of dirty snow, like meshed in with the bowls underneath the window where they would usually serve you your soup.
Oh no, Sturdy, it looks like there was a struggle. You think something happened?
Oh my god, what sicko would do this?
Did you leave all the...
Oh, it's an old woman. Why would they do something like this? Nah, James, he and I are gonna have some fisticuffs when I see him next. If you hate her hand...
That we could guess where he's going.
Where do you think they're going?
Where else would you go with a pickaxe? Two options. He's either going home or he's going to get more food.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I guess. I mean... just staring at you blankly at this point. You gave me two choices, and I'm not sure which is the correct one.
Okay, let's go. And I will start. I don't know where James lives, so I will start heading back towards the where he might be able to steal food. The
cookhouse.
Thank you, the cookhouse.
Fantastic. So now we have, traveling towards the center of town, we have one, James Audley, with a pickaxe over his shoulder, and two ladies following him behind. One elderly, sleepy lady in a scarf, and one nervous lady who feels really bad about the shenanigans that she's been causing tonight. And we can see it in how she's moving. I'm joking. That's a joke. But
with us following James, we're not sneaking, but is he walking at a casual pace or is he walking at a fast pace?
I will say he's not, he's walking with a purpose. He's not just like meandering home.
We would have to also hustle behind him.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, stealthing is not a real option for these two.
Yeah. Let me roll a little perception thing for this guy. Let me find my stats. Just a moment here. All right, James Aubrey. James, there you are. Okay, so we're gonna have him roll aware. I've got my feet die, which is an 8, awareness, which is a 6, and then we're gonna give him resolve, which is also a 6. 8, 6, and 6. And I'm actually gonna go ahead, and he's got a purpose. He's got blinders on. I'm gonna give him a downgrade. So we're gonna roll 3 6s because also that feels unlucky. And I like it. He does not notice you. He is very much on a mission. He breaches the town center with the generator, and you notice that he purposefully walks away outside, out of the way of the hut where the foreman usually hangs out with the governor, especially, and he's making kind of a long. He does start to try. He puts on a bit of a extra casual stroll as he hits the center of town, slowing his movement a little bit, and going around. He's making his way around the center. You would hazard a guess as you watch that he's going towards the cookhouse.
Pearl, does it look like he's trying to purposely move away from sight? Is he skulking?
I'm trying to purposely move too. And she's like, anyone watching would see, when elderly people try to hustle, they're leaning really far forward, and like the weight of their upper half is trying to propel them forward, and her feet are shuffling.
I'm actually, Abuela, I'm gonna make you take a box of fatigue for this, I think. I think you spent your energy, ma'am.
Okay. I have a really great idea. Just because I think it's a great idea. I'm going to, at this point in time, we have a good idea which direction he's going. We don't really need to think too much about it because of the way he's going and the way he's acting. So being a nurse and seeing that Pearl, because do you see it? And then I turn and I see that Pearl is exhausted. So now I'm going to try to get her to stop and help her down. But instead of helping her down, she just like collapses onto the ground and maybe into the snow at this point in time when everyone else catches up to us. I'm hovering over Pearl laying down in the snow. And that's all they can see is me leaning over Pearl going, "Are you okay?"
And Pearl's going, "No, go." no talking, no.
Are you like telling me to go catch up to him, run off?
Yeah, but she thinks she's saying these words, but there's no words. It's just gasps.
Don't worry, I'll get you some help. I'm looking around frantically, like.
Oh, there's no, well, as you're looking around, there's nobody else in the square. You can see a light on in the foreman's hut. But I will also give you that it's not too much longer, that you see maybe entering from a slightly different roadway, Arnold and Clara entering the town center, and you kind of do like the Spider-Man point at each other from across the way.
Well, if it's not too much longer, I'm probably sitting on the ground next to her with her head in my lap as we're waiting for her to catch her breath.
So you see this, Arnold and Clara, as you enter the town center. You see Martha with Pearl's head in her lap, just like laying on the ground in the middle of town.
Someone knocked Pearl out. I'm gonna find out who did it. I'm like rushing over.
I will follow.
Be okay. Who did this?
Age.
I don't know that. Where does he live?
Well, we saw James leaving from the mine, and I forgot myself, and we rushed after because he took his pickaxe with him. And that just seemed odd, and she ran with me. She's such a champion she is, but now she's exhausted.
Okay, well, yeah, I think James is on the way to the cookhouse. Pearl, rest.
Clara, come closer.
Yeah, I will come closer.
I was married twice. Once to Matthew and once to Belvin.
Belvin?
And they weren't worth a damn, so we had no children. You're a strong one. Take the ladle. It's good for improvised weapons.
I will hold it close.
My time is coming. Excuse me. My time is coming. And I'll have to see those two buffoons again in my next life, and I hate it.
Oh, you'll be fine. I'll carry you. Don't worry. We don't have to see those two again for quite a long time, as long as the three of us have anything to say about it.
Clara takes the ladle and says, I will honor you, and heads towards the cookhouse with the ladle.
If I don't die, I want it back.
That's fine. That's cool.
If I don't die, I want it back.
I'm gonna go with Clara because actually no, I'm gonna go with Pearl to the infirmary so that we split the party down to one person.
Amazing.
Facing off against James with the special pickaxe.
Okay, so we have Martha bringing Pearl over to the infirmary. And we have Clara going off, well, standing in the square being like, where did everybody go? Well, with this ladle in her hands. We have Arnold ready to storm. Well, you both are going to storm the cookhouse. Are you storming it together? Yeah? You hear, as you go in through the door, the cookhouse is empty. The lights are off. There is nobody inside, but you know this building well enough. You don't necessarily need to turn on a light until you get into the back rooms, which you're less familiar with. You're able to move through the dining room. Let me get some stealth from you, please. I'm going to need, what are we doing for stealth? For stealth, we're doing stealth. Classic, and resolve, plus your feat die. And I'm gonna give you both an upgrade because this has been really funny. That's why.
So it's resolve stuff and what else?
And your feet die, the D8 to start. So you get your D8 for your feet and then resolve and stealth. Plus an upgrade.
Remind me what that thing you gave me does.
So, when I gave you an extra resolve point. So if you use one of your resolve die, you can mark it off your character sheet. It's up in the top right corner. And you can replace one of your dice in your dice pool with a D12.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
So my stuff is a D6, but I have an upgrade next to it, so I can bump it up to a D8.
Yep. And that means that you technically have 2 upgrades because I gave you one as well.
Okay. But I have to mark it off, so I can't use this upgrade again, right?
No, you can use it. That's an automatic upgrade to any time you use that skill.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and boost one of these to a D12.
Nice.
Oh, wait. 6, 8, D10.
D10. Great.
Okay.
Oh. Whoa! Nobody knows where Clara is. Clara is the wind. Arnold, however.
I just go charge again. I'm pissed.
You go charging in, and yeah, your heavy boots. You wear those heavy minor boots, and you're breathing really heavy because you're mad about Pearl. But that's okay because as you start to cross the threshold of the bag, that person, you hear oh no, and then you hear a crash, a sound of clattering blades falling, which Clara knows is her trap that has been set off. Clara, I'm gonna have you, why don't you roll me 3d4 for some damage fun. I'm just curious what happens.
Oh,
I'm asking myself right now. I don't think that's actually how damage.
Sorry, that's 4.
But I wanted you to roll dice about it, so we're doing it. I'm the game master.
Sorry, I rolled 4 by accident. My bad.
Whoa. We got lucky 13 though, so that's fine. Great. You hear and the cry of pain. Ow! Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh! And you all, I'm imagining, crash into the back storeroom together. The lights go on, and you see James lying there with some cuts on his arms, tangled in twine and meat cleavers. And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing in here? I just saw you. There's a hole in the wall. Did you notice?"
I'm going to punch
Whacked with the ladle.
No, I'm going to let the ladle whack first.
Nice. You roll me a close combat roll, Clara. So this is going to be, you're going to use your close combat skill, and I'm going to need you to use your agility for, I think, yes, your agility for that. But you also, hold on. I'm going to give you 3 upgrades for Magic Ladle.
Amazing. Okay. 8, 10, 12. Okay. And I'm going to use another resolve point because I still have 2 left.
Absolutely.
Make sure I'm doing this right. Check my equation. This will be fine.
Okay. Good thing you had all those upgrades, apparently, because that is lower than I was expecting, but it is sufficient. You beam him square on the head. And his eyes go cross-eyed, and he conks out. He knocks out.
Pearl.
He didn't even do anything to Pearl, but I love this.
Speaking of Pearl, as that ladle comes cracking down on James's head, we flash over to Martha and Pearl as they come into the infirmary. Otto is once again on duty. But as you walk into the door, everybody in the room kind of sits up a little bit and looks at the door at you with a little bit of guilt. And you notice that everybody in here has a bowl of soup.
Yes, so in 1962, my sciatica started. What is this? What? Soup? Do you have enough to share with the class?
Otto stands up from the room where he was sitting, and you recognize next to him his partner Genevieve. She works in the hothouse. And they're both sitting there with the patients, and the patients all have their bowl. And Otto says, "Now listen, I know what this looks like. And with that, we're going to take our last break of the evening. But first, I want to know, you all have now found out that there's a lot of who's got the soup. As other people have soup, people have pickaxes and dirty bowls, and how does this all make you feel? Let us know by responding into the poll. And we're going to take a little break. I can't even say words anymore. And then we'll come back and we're going to figure out what happens in the end. But first, don't forget to put REMPC in the chat while we're waiting. Also, because you could win your choice of a PDF from the blood and something else epic.
Justice.
Blood and Justice! One of those PDFs. Okay, we'll see you on the other side. Stay with us. Bye. Do have a little bit to resolve here, because as we were leaving at the end of our last break, we found out that despite the fact that they shut down dinner service and said there was no more food in the inn, number one, we've got a really audacious thief crawling into a already gutted cookhouse, James Audley, with his trusty pickaxe on his back, sliced up by a guillotine trap made by our very own Clara. But in the meantime, as that thief is being caught red-ladled, as it were, the other two go over to the infirmary, because Pearl has exhausted herself trying to keep up with this thief. She's not as young as she once was. And as Martha and she enter the infirmary, they find a very suspicious cluster of people eating soup in the middle of the night. And they said, "Hang on, I know what this looks like, but it's what it looks like. Are you hungry?"
Yes, and the rest of the village.
That was so grandma like. I loved it. That's perfect. Yes, and the rest of the village.
Well, the food has been running short for weeks now, and our patients, they can't heal without food. You understand?
No, I don't. The education system is terrible nowadays. You don't understand that you're taking all of the food. Now other people are going to be sick, and then you'll have giant numbers in your hospital. And then you have to feed all those people too that you've selfishly stored all of this food for will be gone.
Otto looks at the bowl in his hand, and he looks over at Genevieve, who is sitting also looking despondently into her bowl of soup. Isaac, who, if you recall, came in from the snow, is chilling. He does have one of his hands is still wrapped. He actually heard it in a mining accident recently, but that's neither here nor there. But he's hanging out. He's having some soup. And he just kind of well, they gave this to me. And he puts it down, and I'm just, you can have mine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And he tries to leave very quickly past the two.
No, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. I remember when you were young enough that you couldn't wipe your own tuchus. Sit.
Yes, Nana. And he sits.
With our whelps here.
Where's your ladle?
I don't need a ladle.
Yes, Nana.
So
what happens now? Otto and Genevieve are also looking at each other a little bit uncertainly. We it's not much. We'll give it back, but it won't go far.
who else is involved?
Well, this is all that we know.
Who's supplying the food to you?
Well, Genevieve works at the hothouse. She's been skimming off the top of what they give you at the cookhouse for the last few weeks.
Genevieve, I knew you were a wicked little girl ever since you pulled Ashley's ponytail when you were younger.
She stands and says, now, Ashley was a bully.
This was all your idea, and I know it. You're a rotten egg.
Nana.
Hush.
And she looks appropriately hushed. I'm sorry. We're just so scared, you know. It's been so touch and go lately, and then all of these new people, and we don't have enough resources barely for ourselves, and we just had to make sure that we could take care of ourselves and our patients, of course, of course.
Why have patience? You're going to kill the rest of the village.
Otto goes pale at that and sits down on a bed and pushes the bowl away from him and puts his head in his hands a bit. I don't know what to say.
Everyone on your knees and stare at the wall and pray.
I am going to make you...
Forgiveness.
I am going to ask you for a persuasion roll on this. So we're going to do a persuasion and influence, and then, but I'm going to give you 2 upgrades because you're very much the elder of this city. But you also get a downgrade because you don't have your ladle. So you can use that however you wish. You can cancel them out, or you can upgrade, downgrade different dice.
Okay, so I canceled one of the upgrades.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it's a 1d8, a 1d12, and a 1d8.
All right.
10.
A 10, which there are several children, including, by the way, several refugee children that you recognize. They instantly, without even asking a question, they are bowls down on their knees against the wall. The refugee children are looking around like they don't exactly know what prayers to say. Like this is clearly slight, but they're like looking over their shoulder at the other kids who are like, you know, saying their recitations. And the adults in the room, though, look appropriately abashed, and instead of getting on their knees and going to pray, Genevieve does get up and she goes into one of the little store areas and pulls out a basket. It's a basket that's maybe half full. If you were to do like a wager, I'd say you would find like 15 raw food items in there that they had been like, you know, chopping up and turning into rations on their own, not as easily or handily as you would at the cookhouse, but they've got some raw food in here that you can take back if you like.
This is not what I asked for. Look at the wall.
Nana, we're
Do it.
sorry.
I'm old. Just do it.
Otto does. Genevieve just looks a little sad and shoulders the basket and is going to head out into the cold to take it to the cookhouse. But Otto is now standing directly next to the kid, hands upraised, and he's muttering a little under his breath, looking over his shoulder a little bit to see if you're leaving.
I lean over to Martha. Quick, you're much younger and faster than me. Go get the authorities. Genevieve won't make it out there alone. She's just a young lady.
You want me?
She'll be back.
Okay. All right. Yes. And Martha will leave to go to the nearest watchtower.
Yeah, absolutely. So where you are at the infirmary, you can go just a couple of blocks to the north watchtower. You're easily able to flag down the guard there. The guard there is Latasha. You all know each other. It's a relatively small enough town. And she leans over the edge. She says, "Oh, Martha, what are you doing up this hour?"
And because it's been a very busy night, she'll say, Pearl sent me to get you. We've got a problem. I need you to come to the infirmary.
Oh, sure, Martha. I'll be there in just a minute. And you hear she disappears over the side, and a couple of moments go, and she comes down the stairs and out the front of the watchtower, and you both start to head back to the infirmary. Let's take a quick flashback to the cookhouse, where Clara and Arnold are standing over an unconscious. This guy's name, James. It's just one of those names, James Audley. And he is snoring, and if this was a cartoon, he'd have little cartoon birds going around his head. His trusty pickaxe is laying on the ground next to him, and he is bleeding from several cuts on his arms. What do you do?
Yeah.
Okay, got him good.
Now what?
I don't know. I never got this far.
We gotta take him to. We gotta take him. The authorities. We gotta lock him up. We probably need to stitch him up and then lock him up.
All right, I can carry him.
You can carry him? Okay. All right.
I just kind of don't want him to bleed on me.
It wasn't that bad. Was it that bad?
He's got weak fevers in his arm.
They're not in his arm. They went across his arm, hopefully.
There's blood. Arm cuts bleed a lot, It's a lot.
Right. Well, I will do my best to cover it up.
You find a dish towel that's you're back here. Yeah, you're able to wrap his arm up in a dish towel. What's your endurance, Arnold? What's your die that you have for your endurance? It's pretty high, right?
It's a 10.
Okay, then I won't make you roll for it. You're able to lift this guy up, and you're bringing him out to the town center. Or
I'm following Clara. So
Clara would know what Christian does not know, and that is where to take someone who has been bad and should be locked up.
Well, you have two options. You could go to one of the watchtowers. There's one in each of the cardinal directions. The closest one to you, where you are at the cookhouse, would be the south watchtower. Or you also have the option. You can see the light is on in the foreman's little hut. And he's one of the people who was there to ask you to investigate this.
Okay, I'll take him to the foreman then. Yeah.
Yeah. You approach the little hut, and do you knock on the door, or do you just open it?
I I'd probably just open it.
You just open the door, and inside this little hut, it's very close to the generator, so it's warm. And you can see that both Westover and Lucy and Ash have got their collars are undone. They're still wearing their coats, but they've got like the fronts of their shirts are open, and they're playing at cards. And they're well, they are drinking moonshine, and they look up at you. And as soon as Lucian notices who is over your shoulders, they stand up from the table and they go, "Hey, what's going on here? That's James."
Yeah, James did it. We caught him. You told us to catch him. We caught him.
But put him down. Put him down. Is he okay? What's going on with his arm?
I just dropped him on the floor. Just.
You drop him on the floor. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
It was a trap. We talked about trap, remember?
Westover is like, yeah. Oh, it worked. And as you drop James on the ground, and he wakes up, it like jars him awake. And he looks up at Lucian, who is like hovering over him, and he goes, "I'm sorry, they caught me." Wait, he just realized what just happened, and Lucian looks up at all of you to see if you noticed that.
Clearly.
And it's right about this time that Genevieve is entering into the town square and is going to be trying to drop off the food at the cookhouse. And Westover goes, "Wait, you too?" At Lucian. And they go, wait. And then now everybody's kind of doing the Spider-Man meme at each other. And Westover was like, "How could you, Lucian, you are the one who said that we should arrest them." And James is just like, he's sitting up and he's holding his head, and he goes, "Man, it wasn't worth the ladle. What is that ladle made out of?" Whoa. And they...
We should probably get Pearl a new ladle. I think there might be lead in here.
The blood of her enemies makes it stronger. It's just a coating protective layer.
It's flavoring. It's flavor.
Meanwhile, in the midst of the Spider-Man pointing meme, we're going to flash really quickly back over to Martha, who is walking with the guard Latasha from the North Watchtower over to the information. So she says, "So Martha, what's happening? What are we investigating here?"
Well, we're not investigating anything. We've determined something terrible. Otto, my boss, has been skimming food from the soup kitchen.
She stops for just a moment. He has, and she continues to move forward with you.
We caught him and, was it Quinn? No, it wasn't Quinn.
It was Genevieve, yeah.
Genevieve. Him and Genevieve with food that wasn't theirs, that was meant for everyone.
Oh. Why don't you make me a boy, I keep asking you for perception rolls. I know you got awareness though, or
I have awareness with a bump up.
Yeah, give me awareness and resolve. And I'm gonna give you an upgrade because secret reasons.
Can I it says I have a resolve dice. Can I throw that in there?
If you use one of your resolve dice, you cross that off, and then you can replace automatically one of the dice in your pool with a D12.
Okay. And then you're giving me 1 upgrade?
1 upgrade.
So I replace the D4 with a D12, and that means I have 2 upgrades, and so I'll replace the D8 with a D12. So I'm rolling. That's a lot. Okay. Hopefully I roll better than what Christian rolled a little while ago with all these really high dice.
Yeah. Ooh.
Jiminy crits! What is it? Like 2 D12 and a D10, and I get a 10.
Yeah. So yeah, you something seems odd. Something seems off, but you're not exactly sure what it is. And it almost you start to notice that Latasha is maybe lagging a little bit behind you, and is going to wait for you to open the door to the infirmary. Are we?
No, my character's smart, and there's an issue. Even with James, and knowing that James had food or was taking food, and then, hang on a second, somebody's decided that I need to do something else. There we go. Even with James taking food, and Otto and Genevieve taking food, would that equate to how much food we've lost?
Not quite. No.
I mean, so we've lost more food.
Yeah.
And you just said, I feel something's off. Would that off feeling that she's worried or feeling guilty? Cool. As I'm about to open the door, I'm going to stop. Martha's going to stop, and I'm going to turn to her. Did you skim from the kitchen?
It's just, they're so generous sometimes, and I've just been stockpiling. I've been going back to the line a couple of times, and it's just a week's worth of rations just for me. Well,
I'm going to stop her from talking. Stop. And just come in, and we're going to go into the infirmary. To see Otto on the ground going,
and Pearl looking menacing, and Latasha's face drops immediately upon seeing Nana in the room and understanding what is about to take place. She says, I'm so sorry, but it wasn't just me. I mean, we all were talking, all of the...
I move over to Pearl, and I say, Pearl, I don't think it was just James, and I don't think it was just Otto. I think it's everyone. I think a lot of people were doing it. We need to find Clara and Arnold. I think we're the only 4 not taking food from the soup kitchen.
The 4 of us are idiots. What are we doing? If no one else cares about society, what does 4 people caring about society even matter?
Well, maybe we're the good people. I don't know. I mean, people are hungry.
I need to get my ladle back.
All right, let's go.
You are just on the other side of the center of town from the cookhouse. And actually, as there is, you can hear a bit of a commotion happening in the little hut where the foreman and the governor play cards. And you can see Genevieve hasn't gone into the cookhouse at all. She's standing in the square and watching these men kind of argue with her hand over her mouth. And the noise is starting to build. Lucian and Westover are having an argument with each other. And Lucian is like, the coal miners, they need the most food. We're the ones that keep this place open. We needed to make sure that they had food. There was no way we were going to let them. And then I don't know what to say. As soon as we noticed that those refugees were taking so much, that they were taking so much off the top, we had to get our own cut. And we're going to do. And Westover says, now listen. I understand that you are important. And to be honest with you, I only took a little bit myself too, but if you hadn't taken so much for your coal people, and the voices are beginning to raise, and Genevieve sees Pearl and Clara coming, and she like puts her hands on her head, and she kneels down now, Pearl. She kneels down and she begins to pray. As you walk up on the scene and you see this is starting to devolve, what are you going to do? It's become clear that this is not just a one source issue. So what needs to happen next?
Pearl definitely slaps the back of Genevieve's head as she walks over.
Roll close combat. Let's see what.
Yeah.
And you don't have your ladle though, or do you get it from? Okay,
it's just a grandmotherly.
Okay, great.
It's not meant to do any damage. Let's see. I guess is it agility?
Yeah, you'll use agility. It'll be an unskilled because you don't have close combat. But I will give you an upgrade because of your elder status.
Also, she's on her knees and sneaking up behind. So
she's not going to try to fight you off. It's a glancing blow. It does its intended effect. And Pearl calls the ladle to her. Hilarious. So you slap her on the head, and she looks up at you apologetically, and she says, I think you're right. You're so right. I'm so sorry.
Don't talk to me. Don't apologize to me. Talk to God.
And she continues to pray.
Oh, a mission from God.
I go in there, and Clara.
Clara is holding the ladle up and not sure what to do with it because she just wants things to end, but she also knows she's not about to hit the foreman or the mayor of this town.
You strong ox lady. Here, let me have my ladle back. And
I will hand it back.
Ooh, the magic of getting the ladle back. That was 10 out of 10.
Westover.
Yes, Nana.
They've all been stealing food.
I thought you knew better than to lie.
I can't believe I kept it in as long as I did.
Me too. Now what you're going to do is call the whole town together. Everyone who's been stealing food. I'm just going to assume that we're the only 4 righteous people in this village. And everyone will line up. I want a table outside. I want hands on the table, one by one. Do you know what happens to thieves? You'll be the first to find out. Let's go. Jansen? Jansen, where are you? I need him to wake everyone up. We're lining up now. I don't care.
Jansen, I'm certain, will tell you that you've got it. If he's not available to say so in the chat. And he goes off and he rings the bell in the town square. It's late. It's the middle of the night, but it's bright, like daytime here next to the generator because of the fire that it generates. And the town circle begins to fill with sleepy, disgruntled people. And the first person to own up to things is Westover himself. He stands up and he says, "Everyone, I would like to apologize." And it kicks off a speech that I will not do at this time of night. But what happens there is kind of amazing because Westover apologizes and brings out his wares, and Genevieve has her basket of raw food, and the James Aubrey and Lucien and the other people who were in on that plot that you didn't know about yet, they bring out whole baskets of food that they had stolen the night before. But it even comes down, Raymond and Lydia Dixon have a whole pot of soup that they've been keeping in their home that they took home from the soup kitchen. And there is one of the hunters, even Elizabeth Archer brings a smoked polar bear leg out from her closet. She's been saving it to feed the people in her bunkhouse. Everybody has a little bit of food, and everybody murmurs as they place their hands down on the table. They murmur their apologies, and they say they were just so afraid. They saw the town growing, and they didn't think that it could stay, and they wanted to make sure that they protected themselves. Please, Nana, please spare us. What will happen to our hands?
Hands on the table. Westover, you're first. Clap, clap. Next.
And we zoom out at the end of our show here is we zoom out on the whole of New London, and we see the people are lined up in a curlicue to take their repentant whacks on the wrist from Nana's magic ladle. And we have to ask one last time, hey, everybody in New London, how does that make you feel? Westover needs a defense roll. I think Westover feels badly enough about lying. Westover tries to be a stand-up kind of guy. But eventually there's going to be a poll. I actually realized also I forgot to resolve the last one with when we found out what was going on, which, by the way, was going to reduce our hope here and increase this tent.
He's a scab. He crossed the line. Oh my goodness.
You know what? Actually, I want to do one last roll, and I'm so sorry. I know we're 5 minutes past what I said, but I want to see, hey, Nana Pearl, will you roll to see if you can increase hope through this discovery?
Sure.
I would like to see a roll. So we're going to have you roll influence and persuasion. And you've got your D8, but I'm going to give you 3. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you 4 upgrades. You get 3 upgrades, 1 for each of your team members, and you get 1 upgrade for having your magic ladle in your hands one last time. Can we give Pearl a boost? Absolutely. You know what? The people of New London want to give you a boost too. Hey, people of New London, give me a boost. Say boost if you want to give Pearl an upgrade for boosting hope. A boost for Pearl. We've got 1 from Serenity Lives. Anybody else? Boost! I'll take it. Boost! That's 3! Yeah. All right. We'll make it. Boost! That's 4 plus the... Oh, wow. 5? Okay. 6? Uh-huh. Come on, Nana Pearl. You can raise hope in this city. You can raise hope.
Through the power of ladle.
Through the power of ladles, Nana, roll. You've got 9 upgrades. What are you gonna roll?
9 upgrades? What am I rolling?
12s. That was a terrible roll, Nana.
She's cold. She's been in the cold. She's feeling ill. She's coming down with something.
Because you had so many upgrades, you do get to add 2, but it's only a 9. And because it's only a 9, I'm gonna say, who's speaking?
I have a suggestion.
Yes,
maybe Nana is too tired and someone else must take up the mantle of swinging the ladle.
Whoa. Clara, will you roll me one of those resolve die and see if you can fix this mess?
Yeah. I have this knack called the Call of the Spirit, where once per session I can upgrade any conviction or resolve feat. I would like to use that.
Go for it.
Okay,
Do
what
it.
am I rolling? Sorry.
Let's have you roll. We're going to have you roll persuasion and conviction. I like conviction for this. And then your D8. So, and you get, you can have half of the, I'm reading the chat and I'm distracting myself. Boosts, half the boost. Thank you. You can have 5 boosts, 5 upgrades.
Okay. I think that's going to be D12s across the board because I will use a resolve if I have, or a resolve if I have to. I got one left.
D12, and then we'll add 2 to that total. Wow!
I added the 2 already.
2, heck yeah! Wow. Okay, 27 plus 7 plus. How's this poll going? Oh my gosh, everybody's feeling hopeful and happy. There is one person who feels hopeless, so we're gonna honor that and we're gonna boost it down. But then because we've got a 27, what?
It's Westover.
It's Westover. It is. He's hopeless and unhappy.
No, it's Jensen. Jensen's one true love is Messaging Boy, and he's in the mines.
He's in the mines. Okay, but we're gonna say everybody here is looking really happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and, you know what? This seems like a very happy ending to me. Long live the city of New London. Am I right? Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This is Emerald Glitch's last stream on Gen Con TV. You can find us next week on Rough Magic's Twitch. And now I'm going to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves. I'm going to start. Hey, Richard, you're in my top left corner. You want to go first?
Hi, my name is Richard. I'm a game master of Rock Magic Games, and I stream on Twitch on Sundays. Every other Sunday, this coming Sunday, we have a stream called Gears of Revolution, which is Pathfinder 2nd Edition stream. And the following week after, Clara and I play in a Pathfinder 2nd Edition version of Giant Slayer. So you can check us out there. And like Clara mentioned, we have a lot of other streams coming out.
Yay. Amber, you're next.
Hi, my name is Amber. I'm so happy that I was asked to come back to do this little one shot. It was so much fun. You guys, if you've been watching for a while on Gen Con TV on Emerald Glitch, I played Nova in season 1 and season 2. I'm just so happy to be back with all of y'all for just one night. It was so much fun. I am a graphic artist. I also work in the film industry here in the US. And so you can follow me if you're interested in my art. It's amberbella.art on Instagram. And I think I just sent a link, so maybe we can post that. But I am available for commissions since the film industry is a bit slow in the US right now. Hopefully it'll boost up, I guess. It'll get better. I have a project coming out that I worked on. It's a superhero television show airing on HBO in the fall. I cannot say a specific name, but keep an eye out and have fun.
Wow. Everybody put your guesses in the chat of what it is. Meanwhile, Christian, it's your turn.
Great. I took off my hat for this. My name is Christian. I am CEO and co-founder and game master at Rough Magic Games. You can find me at Rough Magic as well. But I'm so excited to have Emerald Glitch come over and run games on Rough Magic. You may have also seen me in Emerald Glitch Season 2 as Convoy, the rigger for the team, with his wonderful truck, Mama Bear. Yeah, I think that's it. Check out roughmagicgames.com. I think it's already in the chat. This game was awesome. I had so much fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Max, you're next.
Max, I do Rough Magic game mastering as well, so pretty much everything Kristen said, and I ran the second season of Emerald Glitch. All my players are here. Well, one is almost. We're missing Chris. But yeah, it was a fun time, and see you guys next time over at Rough Magic next week.
Yeah, we'll be back at our usual Shadowrun shenanigans. Me and Max will still be here. You can't see him, but Tyler's behind the scenes. He'll be there too. Tris. I just realized that you'd use a different name. Pretend. Anyway, but also come find us on Rough Magic. We're playing games. We're in your computer. We're in your city. We're also, if you are in the Illinois area, speaking of, saving children, we're going to be at Lurie's Children's Hospital this very weekend at their Extra Life Gaming Convention. It is a fundraiser for their life-saving procedures that they do for very sick children. So come hang out with us, play some games. We've got a Kill It, Keep It competition that's happening. So you can battle an ancient red dragon and keep the hand-painted miniature that you killed.
The miniature is incredible. It looks so great. Check out our Instagram. I think there's a photo of it on there.
Oh, yeah. So check us out on Instagram. Come see us at Lurie's. Come see us all over the place. Make sure you're following us on Twitch so you get notified the next time we go online. And you can also join us on our Discord so you can hang out and chat about the games you like to play and the fun time that you had watching this stream and being in my city of people. Also, I do want to plug really quickly. I am also, in addition to being a Rough Magic game master and all of that stuff, I'm also working on a podcast with a group called Out of Depth Plays. We just recorded our first episode of a new season using the Knave 2E system. It's a story about fantasy dwarves making a baby in a very weird way. So half of Session 0, a little sneak peek of Session 0 is on YouTube, but you can also stay tuned and wait for episode 1 to come out on wherever you put podcasts in your ears. It's there. And now it's time. Wow, look how sad and gray that Frostpunk wheel looks. But it's time for the Shiny City wheel. Who's gonna win the prize today? If you forgot already, it is your choice of a PDF from the Blood and Justice series. It's a game that is in the world of the Crow. Hey, spin that wheel. The delay is killing me. It's not even spinning. Okay, thank goodness. I just wanted it to spin. I just needed to spin now.
So dramatic.
Arrows! You win! It's Clockwork, but that was his character's name.
Yeah, that was the NPC name.
Yeah. The game Clockwork Tuba! You are a winner in real life and in our hearts. Keep your whispers open, but we know how to reach out to you. Okay, that's the show, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Nice.
Bye. Oh, we're still alive. Oh my God.